What the frickety fuck is up, everybody? We are live now on pretty much everywhere. Let's see. Let me go back to see what the chat looked like. All right. So we're doing Awake and Be Flinge. It's been a minute since we've done a news politics type stream. So yeah, here we go. I actually haven't seen this. I like the Siesta Socialist account. Strammer's draws on the impact of the cost of living. Average family in Britain will be poorer than the average family in Poland.
Same pet in Polish, speaker.
Oh, okay.
After 13 years of Tory failure, the average family in Britain will be poorer than the average family in Poland by 2030. That's a shocking state of affairs. If the Tories limp on in government, we're going to see a generation of young people learning to say "I'll be the same pet" in Polish, aren't we? Speaker, after 30...
Okay, that's just a stupid man doing stupid shit. Ooh, one of my favorite accounts is I Squirrel. Granted, this is how much I've gathered. This shit got bookmarked back in December. How does the CIA conduct regime change operations? They utilize insights from social psychology to create a sense of crisis in a country. It's part of a wider terror campaign. Guatemala in 1954 is a case study described here by the CIA agents in charge of it.
So they said a decision has been made at the highest levels of our government to rid Guatemala of the Arbenz regime. And we would like you to participate in it. You will be the chief of propaganda and political action.
In Guatemala, what the CIA did was mobilize every facet of American power. It didn't just isolate Guatemala militarily and diplomatically, but it used the techniques of social psychology in a nearly year-long campaign which created a sense of crisis in Guatemala.
What we wanted to do was have a terror campaign.
Terror campaign. We wanted it.
Our bench particularly.
Jesus.
His troops, much as the German Stuka bombers terrified the population of Holland, Belgium, and Poland at the onset of...
Damn, they just straight up say it out loud that they're Nazis. Like, here's the thing. Yeah, we claim Russia's doing bad shit, and here we are doing worse shit, arguably. But you know, who? What am I? I'm not. You know, who am I to say shit about anything, right? I'm just a dumbass on the internet.
World War II.
Guatemala ousts Reds.
That's what they did, so that the United States could control the economy of Guatemala, destroying...
Why pronounce it like that? Guatemala?
Sowed confusion through the countryside, and of course by this time we had aircraft flying over and dropping leaflets. And doing a little harmless bombing.
Harmless bombing!
Harmless bombing and a CIA terror campaign.
Harmless
Thousands of lives.
bombing! Oh, we just do a little harmless bombing. Fucking Jesus, they say it out loud. Or they used to.
Was humiliated, stripped naked, and photographed before being forced into exile.
Damn.
Richard Nixon, then Vice President of the United States, flew in to congratulate the
Dick
new
Nick.
dictators.
Guatemala is going to enter a new era in which there will be prosperity for the people.
Prosperity my ass.
For the people.
General Rios Montt was to be one of Washington's faces of liberty. During his time as president in the 1980s, thousands of people were murdered by death squads.
Of
most
course.
of them indigenous men, women, and children.
Damn. Same strategies are used today, except now with social media. Fake media operations and troll bot armies create a sense of crisis. Wait, let me go back. Western media then boosts this further. This is how you get cyber revolutions that last for months and months with nothing actually happening. Inside Israel's $1 million troll army. One step ahead of Iran, Israel's new Farsi speakers start young. An attempt to bolster recruits in the IDF's intelligence units. Some Israeli high school students have begun to learn Farsi. God damn. I can confirm Jamal Khashoggi was killed because of speaking to me on the phone from Istanbul in the morning on 26 September, revealing that London-based Iran International TV was funded by Mohammed bin Salman. What? Are they literally just making shit up? Saudi Arabia deployed Twitter army against critics. New York Times. Yeah? An elaborate network of psyops assigned to every official enemy of the U.S., Cuba, China, Venezuela, Iran, North Korea, Syria. Job designation is as described by the CIA agents in the Guatemala case, constantly creating a sense of crisis as part of the terror campaign. Like sending up a balloon. Or, I don't know, accepting the lab leaks theory now as mainstream because now we want to go to war with China. You know, it's all of these little things that just you don't notice until you really notice it. Fun stuff. I fucking hate it here. Ironically, Western media class hysterically whines about Russian interference, which is a joke. Any such networks are immediately shut down, and the ones that did briefly operate reached a marginal amount with an amateur shirtless Bernie memes. Yeah, this meme in particular swayed my personal election results. I've personally voted for Jill Stein in 2016 because I saw this shirtless Bernie, dude. Shirtless Bernie got me to vote for Jill Stein. I swear to God, he got into my mind. The Russians, man. If you want to see a serious PSYOP network, look at Iran International, the media operation funded by genocidal fascist maniac Mohammed bin Salman to conduct PSYOP warfare against Iran with the blessings of Israel and the U.S. No shit. Imagine a CNN level propaganda operation inside the U.S. I mean, yeah. Another crucially important element is the success of this PSYOP. The lack of any tax to filter it, which Western regimes have imposed on Chinese, Russian, and Iranian media operations and anyone who dares associate with them. Oh. Interesting. See, that's Golas Ameriki. Whoa, wait. BBC Russian. They have the blue check marks. They interesting, but they're not state affiliated. Oh, I wonder why. It's included in the thread I linked earlier, but here's a separate. Here it is complete. The war on democracy in Latin America. Also worthwhile to note that Che Guevara was in Guatemala at the time of the coup and saw both his fellow activists arrested, exiled, tortured, and murdered. This convinced him that peaceful path to socialism was impossible and imperialism was a beast that had to be slain. Which, was he wrong? Alright. We have several capitalist hell stories. CNN Health. A teacher battling cancer ran out of sick days. School employees showered him with theirs. Wow. Imagine this fun, feel-good story, right? It's not a heartwarming story. It's an indictment of the broken U.S. system. Yeah. To say the fucking least. Yeah. Phenomenon of perseverance porn in media for years. Media frames teen using college savings to save mom from evictions. Holy fuck. We live in a dystopia. Homeless 8-year-old chess champion. It's trauma porn. That's all it is. It's literally all it is. I'm gonna pelt something at you. Yeah, anyway, shit's fucked. We have plenty more stories about this. If you are vegan, look away. So this is a... actually, this account is like a huge anti-China... Yeah, anti-Chinese propaganda account. The video isn't even in China, it's in Taiwan. Fish is dead, but it's common for their muscles to trigger even after being cooked for more. I mean, I don't care about that. It's horrific. It's like these people it's a rich Chinese people's meal, right? Fish is still alive. My sources were flawed. This is an inhumane practice, but does not excuse anti-Chinese settlement. Restaurant is in Taiwan, and the dish is Taiwanese. Clearly twisted to be anti-Chinese. The fish in this dish is alive and stays alive while their body gets eaten, so any ethical concerns someone may have about that would still apply. Gross and fucked. Dead meat still moving to be a porn category. Alright. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on that one briefly because that one is oof. I used to really like Keffels. So seeing shit like Keffels go full why I left the left is really disappointing. But yeah, here is Keffels based, or I say based, I say that sarcastically. A moment where Keffels says a thing and then immediately gets contradicted by her own stream.
Does it matter which pit crew? No, just use a random one. But the more diverse, the better. Okay, I'm pausing here to clarify for a second.
I'm pausing
when I said
here,
the more diverse, the better, people suddenly thought, oh, you know, when Keffel said the more diverse, the better, Keffels meant people of color. No, I meant do not use carbon copies of the same pit crew, because it would be more suspicious. But trying to turn this into me being racist is disingenuous as fuck, and everyone who's doing it is a woke skull piece of shit.
Unpause.
Make it a black butch lesbian with I don't know.
These are the types.
This is the only thing. Yeah.
This is the only thing? Immediately contradicts herself. Whole clip is not...
I'm pausing here to clarify for it's just blood meant people AOP in the first place, even though it was a community in-joke that hurt no one. But trying to turn this into me being racist is disingenuous as fuck, and everyone who's doing it is a woke skull piece of shit. Make it a black butch lesbian with I don't know.
These are the types.
This is the only thing. Yeah, did I say black butch lesbian? Yeah, I said black butch lesbian.
Uh-huh.
And I could have saved grace in that clip if I continued to add more examples. Does it matter which pit crew? No.
If I continued to add more examples. LMAO. Anyway. Some badass shit, because we're not all completely dystopian. I learned about Las Patronas today. They're a group of Mexican women who help feed Central American migrants crossing the border. Solidarity to these powerful women. Oh, Jesus. That's loud. It's a train moving. I don't know why I expected anything less. But that's bad fucking ass. Because keep in mind, we, and by we I mean the United States of fucking A, fucked up the countries down below with all of our regime change operations. And then all of a sudden, those people that we displaced then go, hey, you displaced us. We're coming to you because you displaced us. And then we go, no. Putunk. Go find another thing. Go back to where you came from, as if we didn't fucking fuck over everything. This is from their official Instagram. They posted it themselves, and it went viral on there, too. Okay. Oh, they're on TikTok, too. Damn, I knew I would forget. Oh, that's what it is. Canada Housing. That's what another thing that because there's a TikTok. And, housing. I want to see if I can find that one TikTok. Let's just search the TikTok. Tic-tac. There was one guy specifically. Damn. Why can't I find it now? Anyway, I'll find it and I'll bring it up whenever we do this next. Yeah, in China, children pay for their meals with their face. If their social credits is bad, they don't eat. That's also bullshit. China has a free school meal program. This is literally just to check in, just to make sure that you're the one that got your own fucking meal. I bet. In the United States, kids don't eat lunch because they don't have the money, and this sentence isn't even made up. It's true. All you have to do in the USA is apply for free meals. That's literally why a lot of parents were worried that Congress got rid of a free lunch for all program. Yeah, absolutely fucked. Lunch debt. That's a thing. Yeah, fuck. They should nuke here just for fun, says a clown. The result was a blast so big it lit the sky up into the rainbow colors, and it rained down toxic ash for days that poisoned Pacific Islanders. Birth defects were so bad that they had what they called jellyfish babies, which is just a sack of organs. That's fucked up. Hold the absolute worst of the contained soil, and of course it's still leaking and about to be flooded by rising sea levels. Of fucking course. We can't have jack shit in this fucking house. Pidgeot. Poke Catch Ultra Ball. This is the one time it's worth it. Catch Ultra Ball. Enter. Alright. Radiation travels for thousands of miles. Yeah, no shit. As long as I live, I will never understand how we went from Barack Obama to Donald Trump. I wish. See, I couldn't vote anyway back in the day, but goddamn, I I honestly thought Obama was that guy. And then I found out half the shit that he did during his 8 years as president. I mean, hell, the Ukraine shit happened, really started under Obama's watch. Syria, etc., etc. Like, so many fucking Yemen, like, on and on and on. I can keep going on with the amount of shit that we fucked up around the world. His 8 years as president, Obama dropped more bombs than any U.S. president before him. He deported more undocumented migrants than all U.S. presidents before him. Pidgeot escaped. Fuck you. Living standards for people of color fell under Obama. Wall Street thrived under Obama, which, yeah. But he made it look so cool. Sorry. Say what you will about President Obama, but his class and eloquence really made the deportation of 2.5 million illegal immigrants, bombings of 7 Muslim countries, whitewashing of torture under Bush, continuation of the drug war, rampant prosecution of government whistleblowers, and his expansion of government surveillance go down smooth. On top of that, he also deregulated a lot of shit. He deregulated a lot of shit. Moscow, Mick. Eloquent Reagan, rich Reagan, senile Reagan, dumb Reagan, cool Reagan, nerd Reagan, Reagan classic. Everyone immediately goes and calls that shit Russian propaganda. Yeah. Oh yeah. First of all, I fucking love this account because someone should be holding Biden accountable, and it's not gonna be any of our news motherfuckers. The only ones that try to are the fucking right wingers, which is fucking scary because they don't fucking know what the fuck they're talking about. They do it from the right. No one really does. Barely anyone ever fucking does it from the left, which is why this account fucking exists. FBI Director Ray confirmed that the Bureau has assessed that the origins of COVID-19 likely originated from a lab incident in Wuhan, China. For quite some time now, assessed the origins of the pandemic and most likely a potential lab incident in Wuhan. Does seem awfully disingenuous for the Biden administration to coincidentally adopt Trump's theory of a Wuhan lab leak, just as Biden has been drastically ramping up his anti-China warmongering. It's exactly what it is. He saw the opportunity, and he went with it. But I think we'll get back into the train deregulation thing. Or safety deregulation, because there's a thing of where Obama... Wait, I can look it up. Hold on. Obama train... Or deregulation. There's got to be something. There's got to be the clip. Corporate media has been lying about East Palestine disaster by pretending Trump is the only perpetrator of rail deregulation. Obama, Trump, and Biden administrations all played pivotal roles in the dereg. Where is the clip, though? Yeah, it's also wild that fucking Trump made it there before any Democrats made it there. Literally, a slam dunk for Democrats, and they couldn't fucking do it. But I guess I'd have to go with the Jimmy Dore clip. Because I genuinely cannot find it. Cannot find the original clip. Oh, wait, what? What did it just open? Oh, holding Biden accountable. All right. Every protest since Carter has been committed to industry deregulation, including Obama. Chemical lobbyists got Obama officials to exempt Ohio train from the high-hazard flammable train classification in its tough safety regulations. Rail lobbyists then got Trump to repeal a rule to force rail giants to start using better brakes. That. So it's all connected. It's all... Really, the only reason that it happened is because it's much cheaper to pay the shit off than it is to...
So a lot of people are blaming...
I'm going to pause that. I'll get back to that one later. They wouldn't stay... they would rather pay you off than try to justify... having the deregulations for safety in the first place. Which, honestly, it makes zero sense because it would be more expensive to just constantly have to pay money out of pocket to cover up for your shitty practices than it would for just casually, having the safety regulations in place so that the disasters don't fucking happen. But what do I know? I'm just a dumbass on the internet. Alrighty. Actually, yeah, we can go ahead and...
Trump for the big railroad disaster in East Palestine. Turns out it's not Trump's fault. Who is it? Turns out it's Joe Biden's fault. I wish I was making this up.
That's what I said,
Okay, here. Oh.
I said, thank God a new guy got in there who fixed the stuff.
That Trump screwed up. No. David Sirota, today he's criticizing the Democrats from the left. On the left is the 2014 NTSB letter to Obama regulators demanding
I love that David Sirota's on top of this shit.
Cover trains carrying the kinds of compounds on the Ohio train. On the right is the Obama regulators' 2015 decision to side with the lobbyists and ignore the National Transportation Safety Board's demands. And then he shows you them. So the proposals rules should be at least as protective as the AAR circular and should therefore apply to Class 2 flammable gases. But guess what? They didn't do it. Expanding the definition to include all hazardous materials is beyond the scope of the NPRM, and thus we are unable to include all hazardous materials in this final rule. And who did that? Barack Obama's administration did that.
There it is. This is the clip that I was talking about.
There's no question that some regulations are outdated, unnecessary, or too costly.
Too costly is the key part.
Fewer regulations in the first 3 years of my presidency than my Republican predecessor did in his.
Oh, and everybody clapped. Of fucking course.
Every federal agency to eliminate rules that don't make sense. We've already announced over 500 reforms, and just a fraction of them will save business and citizens more than $10 billion over the next 5 years.
Saving money.
Right. That's all it's about.
Saving money for businesses by repealing regulations. Yeah. He's bragging that he did less regulations than George Bush.
And they passed the savings on to East Palestine, Ohio.
And just in case you didn't know, this from Washington Post. So far, Trump's rollback of regulations can't be blamed for Ohio train wreck.
Well, I'd like to anyway.
Well, you're in luck. Democrats fought hard to regulate safety on our nation's rails, only to see...
Either way. As of January 20th, nice. New pinned tweet from Holden Biden accountable. What has changed since taking office? Oil drilling increased. Medicare premiums increased. Medicare privatization increased. People kicked off of Medicaid increased. Scheduled vaccine practices increased. Well, student debt increase. Yeah, that's I can't. I kind of can't. But still, point still stands because, yeah. Poverty rates increased. Yep, that can be attributed to him. Corporate profits, obviously. Income inequality. Gas prices. Flight cancellations. ICE, CBP. So Border Patrol shit. Funding and power increased. Migrants deported and expelled increased. Migrants caged. Migrants' kids lost. Migrants killed by ICE and Border Patrol. Asylum backlog. Guantanamo Bay still happening. Illegal sanctions on Cuba. This is more like still happening. Police funding increased. Police militarization increased. Civilians killed by police. Mass incarceration. Military spending. Afghanistan civilian deaths. Threat of nuclear war. Weapons for Saudi Arabia's genocide in Yemen. Yemeni civilians killed. Weapons for Israeli apartheid. Palestinian children killed. Weapons for Nazi militias. Domestic terror incidents. Fun stuff. Union membership percentage decreased. And not only that, but Biden also fucking blocked a whole ass union from striking. Minimum wage value decreased. Real consumer spending decreased. The real disposable personal income decreased. Stimulus checks received, none. Unemployment benefits decreased. Abortion protections decreased. COVID protections decreased. Democrats in the House decreased. Record lowest approval rating. Percent of adults proud to be American. Mean tweets decreased. As we know, Trump was also bad, but we have a new bad president to focus on. That's a good point. The U.S. empire admitting that it believes it owns our entire planet. Here's a U.S. ambassador to China saying, we're the leader of Asia.
Capacity and our R&D capacity, which comes from our research institutions and our big tech companies.
AKA, it's not that we're the leader of Asia. It's that we have so many military bases in Asia and so many guns pointed at the rest of the world that everyone else should be scared of us, and that's why we're the quote-unquote leaders.
I think that the Chinese now understand that the United States is staying in this region. We're the leader in this region.
The leader in this region.
And that
AKA, we're going to keep stealing and draining resources.
We don't want, as President Biden makes clear every time he talks about this, we don't want conflict, but we're going to hold our own out here. And I feel optimistic. I'm just concluding my first year as ambassador about the American position in this country and in this region.
Yeah, no shit. Havana syndrome not caused by energy weapon or foreign adversary. It was aliens, dude. Biden administration plans to pay some Havana syndrome victims roughly $100,000 to $200,000 each in compensation. And yet, East Palestine only gets each person in East Palestine only gets like $5 a day, or no, just $5. Just $5. $5. That's all you get for the largest chemical disaster ever. Problem with capitalism is that if you aren't born into wealth, your only capital is your labor. So automatically, your human body is now a commodity that you must sell. If you can't sell it for enough, you won't be able to care for it, and you will lose your capital. According to the widely used, although somewhat hard to find credit for figures, a heart is worth around $1 million in the U.S. Livers come in second, worth about $557,000. And kidneys cost about $262,000 each. Jesus. Commodification of everything. Every single fucking thing. We should be aiming for basically like a net zero, right? We should be aiming for a time where we can all live comfortably without having to fucking work our asses off and like slave away, like have our... Yeah, if the salary is so competitive, why don't you tell me what it is? Because it's not competitive at all. Either way. Slavery is still... I mean, first of all, prison labor is literally slavery. It's just slightly different slavery. It's just more quote-unquote widely accepted slavery. Why is Hassan trending? Why is Crimea trending? Oh, Hassan Minaj? Alright. Oh, what's Crimea about? Trump is a Russian asset, according to Russian intelligence sources. %, but the UN deemed it invalid, and Ukraine's far-right militias began blockades of food and water to Russian-speaking peninsula. Yeah. Speaking of shit that used to be covered, but is no longer, because now we are... So this is how the CNN used to report on Poroshenko shelling Donetsk residents back in 2014.
Petro Poroshenko will have a hard time winning back hearts and minds in this city as the people of Donetsk sweep up the debris of their homes and livelihoods.
Because keep in mind, everything that's happening now in Ukraine, as fuck Russia, fuck everything Russia is doing. But everything happening now in Ukraine has been happening since 2014. Just, it hasn't been happening to all of Ukraine. It's just been happening to Donetsk and Luhansk, who literally just wanted to be autonomous and away from the coup government, which the U.S. overthrew.
They are hardened against a president they say is killing his own people. We are Ukrainian, but they kill us, this man says. So we probably need our own country, because these people in Kiev, they are not brothers for us. The shells hit these homes days ago, but the tears are still fresh.
Yeah. Damn. We live in basements, basically, is what she said.
It was so hard for 2 weeks, especially for 27, 28, 29th. But only today it's quiet. Sorry, I need to go.
2 people were killed outside this block of flats last Wednesday. One of them was a 50-year-old woman, the other a 30.
Isn't she the girl that sniffed a backpack in Syria?
4-year-old woman.
Same journalist.
Her husband, who won't talk to us, he says he's in shock, managed to make it down to the cellar with their little child, but she just didn't have the time. And this is a story that repeats itself over and over in dozens of apartment blocks, with civilians being killed by the constant shelling around Donetsk.
Yep.
The city's trauma hospital is filled with a civilian...
Yeah, but we don't have to go into the more graphic stuff, but...
At a meeting yesterday, and Ray McGovern spoke to it. He is a
Hakeem
former member of the CIA.
Jeffries getting owned is fucking amazing. So if you don't know, Seymour Hersh released an article about the Nord Stream pipeline. There's good old Seymour. World-renowned journalist fucking did the My Lai, or exposed the My Lai massacre. Didn't do the My Lai massacre. Let's be upfront here. That's a completely different statement. But yeah, basically exposing that. I guess if I remember correctly, the articles cited that from there was a Baltic operation, Baltic military exercise in which they used, basically secretly just kind of dived down and then just installed some bombs and then just hightailed it out of there. Because why wouldn't they, right? And I think because Cy Hirsch is such a credible journalist, they're trying to discredit him now.
And he testified in support of Seymour Hersh's article on the United States bombing Nord Stream pipeline. If it is proven that the United States bombed the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, as has been asserted by Seymour Hersh and his article, will you call for the United States to acknowledge and admit that that was an act of war against Germany and Russia? And I'm asking this because this may be the only way to prevent the rest of us from being killed in a thermonuclear war. And I don't want to be fried. Don't you
He's
think
got a point.
you should be reporting on whether or not this is true? And don't you think you should be inquiring into whether or not this is true?
Well, thank you for the question. One, I've got no information to suggest that the United States was involved in bombing the Nord Stream pipeline.
Because you weren't given information because he explicitly says you weren't briefed on it. Shouldn't you inquire?
He's got a point. Shouldn't you inquire? Simple question.
Generally, as it relates to the Ukraine.
And then he doesn't answer. And then he immediately doesn't answer.
What are you doing to respond to that? We have to hold Biden accountable. So listen, you're from Brooklyn, right? You know when to call bullshit when you see it. So do I. This is bullshit right now. And I see what's happening right now. That does not silence me. You can hear me right now. I want you to say something about the bombing because we're all going to die from a nuclear war right now unless you stop it and you at least put and inquire into whether or not it's true. This war in Ukraine is going to leave us all dead. So what are you going to do?
I mean, literally, it's already leading.
Here's what I'll say.
Say it.
Because not only did under Trump we exited out of some nuclear deals, now fucking Putin exited out of the basically exited out of the last nuclear treaty that we had. So now we're literally so much fucking closer to nuclear fucking war. Ain't that fucking lovely?
We're going to continue to stand with the Ukrainian people.
That's fucking bullshit. Do not do that. You will end us all dead.
In this war against
We need peace. We need talks.
Because
Why are
it's
you
not
sabotaging
just-
talks?
it's
Do
not
not put
just
your
a
hands on
battle
me.
between
We need peace
Ukraine
talks.
and
I am not
Russia.
going to take this.
It's a
We need
battle
peace talks.
It's a
You are
battle
leaving.
between
Listen.
democracy
Did you even read the
and
allegations?
autocracy. It's a
No.
battle between
How
truth
about
and
accountability?
propaganda.
Not airheadedness.
It's a battle
He's doing his rap.
Bridges, not bombs.
And democracy,
Okay, how about
truth, and
conversation,
freedom will
not
prevail. And
cremation?
the United States is going to help make sure
Diplomacy,
that happens.
not destruction. How about that? Hello? How about it? You goddamn airhead, you're gonna kill us all. I don't want to die in a
And then they
goddamn
clap.
nuclear war.
And then they clap for him. He got destroyed. He made it himself look fucking shitty. Which, you know, not a hard thing to do, but still.
Democratic president that has done some good stuff domestically, but I can tell you, I'm not understanding the total commitment to Ukraine. And I'm not understanding what I read, because obviously I have access to a lot of people who see things. I've been doing this, Amy, and I've been doing this, writing...
Oh, it's on Democracy Now! Look at that.
For my that old, 300 years. Anyway, the bottom line is, the stories I've been getting about the war, particularly beginning in fall, and that's what gets interesting, have been pretty dire. The Russians, I think the end is just a question of time. Right now it's a question of how many more people Zelensky wants to kill of his own people. It's going to be over. And at this time, we've got a president...
What Hirsch says is true, and there's no reason to doubt it. The CIA and Pentagon have known the war is lost for a long time. It's just been internationally drawn out to maximize deaths and distraction and boost the profits of the arms industry. If you're angry over Chomsky saying that a diplomatic solution will put an end to the war and save the lives of countless Ukrainians, don't worry. Western media and political classes already decided that they will fight to the last Ukrainian. You'll get your wish, brave hero. Yeah. Highly recommend reading Seymour Hersh's excellent reporting on how the U.S. blew up the Nord Stream pipeline and then lied about it, as they always do about everything. And here's the full interview where he discussed it. As the clips in the thread show, this was all predicted and preventable. That, I believe, October 10th, 2022. John Mersheimer? And then we have this lovely gentleman from Ukraine. Okay. I've been fighting since the age of 17. I'm Ukrainian. I'm a Nazi. I fought against the DPR. Are the residents of Donbass Ukrainians or Russians? And this is the mainstream belief of everybody, basically. I wouldn't call those people Ukrainians. We don't need them. When Ukrainian tanks enter Donetsk, they will all be destroyed. So maybe then we should stop the war now? So that we... No, we must destroy them. Yeah. But it's not all shitty news. Here's a funny thing. Late-stage capitalist hellscape. Someone really thought they were trying to do something with this. This is one of the most insane graphs I've ever seen in my life. You might as well chart as how many PlayStations have been shipped using a timescale that encompasses the entire Cenozoic era. Let's look at this. World GDP over the last 2 millennia. Goes from, oh man, there was no GDP over here until like the 1500s, where all the GDP was in the hands of the rich, and now it's still in the hands of the rich, but it's a lot more massive. Holy shit! Wow, graph go up. I think it really, yeah. But for a beautiful moment in time, it created a lot of value for shareholders. Electricity consumption in Europe in 1507. Same shit. Yeah. Hey. Jeremy Corbyn doing his good shit. I am pleased to see that our momentum for a 4-day work week continues to grow, which it should. Evidence is clear. A reduction in hours boosts productivity and improves well-being. Ooh, Snorlax, Pokecatch Ultra Ball. Alright. As we said in our 2019 manifesto, time off to rest, relax, and be with family is essential and to a happy and fulfilling life. No shit. But also, yeah. World's largest 4-day workweek trial finds few are going back. And about 1 in 6 employees in the study said no amount of money could ever convince them to return to 5 days a week. Yeah, I used to be part of that college and full-time job crowd. Oof. Oh yeah, there's a youth pastor that's been finally 18. I can't describe with words what you mean to me and what kind of person you are. You have been my best friends for 4 years. You are my girlfriend that I love, appreciate, respect, etc., etc. I don't even know what the rest of that is because it's... Yeah. And we're out here calling drag queens groomers. That's the thing. It's blatantly there if you go back further. How old is this motherfucker? Legal age of consent is 13 to 15 in other countries. You fucking clown. Oh my god, these people are fucking clowns. She was... My kids and their group of friends experienced a similar situation with a youth pastor. Groomed a couple of the girls and then married one. She was 25 before she realized what happened to her and left him. Good. Fucking good. Been grooming her since she was 14? Wow. Yeah, fucking youth pastors are scary, dude. Okay. I made a good post. Another mass execution in China. The hashtag CCP leaders are monsters. The CCP has made China a barbaric society. We must not stop until these devils are crushed. You literally see the fucking safety harnesses. Fucking death by a wedgie. Rip, can't believe China did a hanging by a wedgie. What a cruel way to demonstrate how safety harnesses work should you fall off. I consider this a base tweet. I'm going to actually retweet this. It's been a minute. I'm proud of that one. Proud of that one. Back to a dystopian. Police in Albuquerque attacked the wrong house, flashbanged it, burned it up, stopped firefighters from putting out the fire. When all said and done, they found the burned body of a 14-year-old child who was in the home. Looking for raids house, looking for an alleged robbery suspect. Get suspect out, ignited, and engulfed the home in flames. Police find the body of a 14-year-old boy. He was not the suspect. How about you check before you do that shit? Huh? And then they fucking stopped the firefighters from putting out the fire. One of my favorite people on the fucking left is Lee Camp. I fucking love this dude. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and tap that notification button. He puts out good shit consistently. Analysis of police reports broke down how much time they spend on each different crime or situation. 99% of everything U.S. police could do could be done by other unarmed types of jobs. Here's what police do with their time. Most police time is spent standing around or sitting around, so let's begin by replacing that. But even if we ignore that time, vast majority of what cops do is meaningless. Nearly 25% of police time is spent on unfounded radio calls. Most of that is due to social engineering, telling us police will solve all our problems, from a loud neighbor to a surly raccoon. We could change the cultural understanding of what cops do and get rid of these calls. Large percentage of police time is spent on investigating premises. Instead of cops, send in well-trained, well-paid, unarmed professional community watch. They could wear jester hats so they don't startle anyone. It's all you need to investigate things. Derelict vehicles use up a lot of police time. No reason dudes with guns should be responding to a car without a tire. It's like sending in Marines because your dishwasher won't drain. No cops needed. Requests for information. FOIA requests? Another big percentage of police time. Replace the cops with little old librarians who give people info. No reason to send people with weapons to tell somebody where the kebab restaurant is. Cops not needed. About 1/8 of police time is for disorderly crowds. This should be handled by well-paid, well-trained bouncers without guns. Crazy to send in paramilitary group to deal with drunk fans at cowboy game. Cops not needed. Large amount of police is spent with medical emergencies and fire. Send in EMTs, medics, firefighters, and community helpers. Don't send in cops. Are we hoping they'll shoot the flames? Cops not needed. Anytime you see the word bipartisan, it's because two major parties are openly working together against you. Oh, there's Tel Aviv. Bipartisan group of senators is talking about raising the retirement age on Social Security. What's happening in Tel Aviv? Oh, it's still the protests. Okay. Israelis protest judicial changes for 8 straight weeks. Police break up protests blocking Tel Aviv road. Okay. Damn. While Israelis fight against Netanyahu's judicial coup, his wife got a haircut in Tel Aviv. Protesters surround the salon and the police are sent in mass numbers to free her. Seems she thinks her hair is more important than the country falling apart. Hey, hopefully something actually good comes out of this and we will completely fucking reform it, but I doubt it considering pogroms are still happening. Yeah. I hope for the best for all of those the people protesting there, but also they don't have nearly they don't have it nearly as bad as the Palestinians do, who are constantly getting fucking war crimed. Okay. This was a fucking wild headline from the New York Post. Tennessee sex cop Megan Hall claims she was sexually groomed in new lawsuit. Calling her the Tennessee sex cop before letting us know she was raped is fucking nuts. I usually don't fuck with Ravana. She's said a lot of sus shit, but I agree with this point. Accountability for getting repeatedly R-worded by her boss. 40% of cops admit to beating their wives. Is it really hard to believe they would abuse their female coworkers and staff? Yeah, fuckers. People suck. That's it. That's the lesson here. Yeah, just the comments are not great. Oh. Yeah, so now we've got the exact same shit that was happening with Hogwarts Legacy. These guys are organizing a harassment campaign against VTubers that plan to stream Atomic Heart. All out in the fucking open. Ukrainians out here. Ukrainian TV popular streamers gathered to play our favorite Atomic Heart. Shall we organize a Jackal Express? And it's just literally just fucking Niji Sanji VTubers that are gonna get shit ton of harassment now. Fun shit. Same Nina Kosaka who taught all foreign streamers the Russian language. Who would have thought? Jesus Christ. Just calm these people are not real. People live in a separate universe or something. I don't understand this. What do you mean? You live in a separate universe or something. Necessary to explain to them that playing AH is sponsoring the genocide of Ukrainian people and the war in Ukraine. Yeah, nah. Face Connect. Y'all gonna come for Tenma too? I think doing harassment campaigns around Atomic Heart would do nothing. I mean, literally, what did the Hogwarts Legacy shit do? All it did was bully Pikami off of the site to the point where now Pikami is graduating. Speaking of Pikami, I've placed these perfectly. Pikami is a great example of how nonsensical the harassment campaigns are. Normally, you would harass with a goal, right? Well, Pikami actually was fine with not playing the game. She didn't want to upset anybody and apologized. Canceled the stream right after. And it stopped absolutely fucking nothing. Explain to me what was the goal. Please tell me y'all always use the phrase do better. What is doing better? What should Pikami have done to get not harassed off of the fucking internet? On top of that, she was Japanese. How are people that are not here in the US or the UK where all of this discourse is even happening, how are they supposed to know that shit is fucked? I mean, Silvervale is one thing, right? And even then, Silver should not have gotten fucking harassed either. No one should harass anyone. I don't know how hard that shit is to say, but here we fucking are. Unlikely we will get anything. Pikami was always extremely wholesome, even in her content, considering she immediately canceled the stream after the hate. It's clear that she is really bad at handling a mob. On top of that, she was bullied all her life for being basically a half-a, and now she's, yeah. Pikami accepted she was wrong and grew as a person. She was bullied by you clowns into not playing a video game she wanted because somehow delusional shitsters thought your useless boycott would do anything. If you decide to harass innocent, but yeah, that's a good point though. If you decide to harass innocent trans people or blame them for Pikami's graduation, just take a second and breathe. And also, Pikami would not be in favor of any of that shit. Pikami shared stories about being bullied in school because she was different. She talked about VTubing finally being the place where people accepted and loved her for her gratitude, this manner, pinnacle of this disrespect for the love and joy she brought to the world. Bullied while growing up in Japan for being half American, decides to target the English-speaking audience in her VTuber career because she thought they'd be more kind to her. They bullied her into quitting by that same audience. I'm so sorry, Pikami. Anyone using Pikami as a reason to spread more hate or harassment are actively not her fans. Can't acknowledge the bullying she went through in her past before VTubing and then turn it around and think she would want something like that. This website continues to be trash. I literally think that right now Twitter, for more engagement, Twitter just shoves the worst communities together and has them fight it out. Because the amount of times I've seen like trans and transphobe creators or just people in general fucking at each other's throats just because of algorithm. It sells. That shit sells. That's what it is. But yeah. Poke catch, great ball. If there's still time. Great ball. I didn't see it. It might have already escaped. No, looks like we got the boy in time. If he actually gets caught. But this is also fucking wild. This dude, fake alter gimmick breaker arc. Okay, I'm glad I don't follow them. Saw this tweet go around. They made Pikami retire. I'm declaring total war as I promised. Y'all are fucking deranged, but okay. No Mongols allowed. Holy shit. Okay, they're just straight up Nazis, like out in the open. Interesting. Pikami's graduation was decided before Hogwarts Legacy even dropped, but I know for a fact that jabronis are going to use the coincidental timing to continue to push their transphobic agenda. Well, hold on. Pikami may have been wanting to graduate before that, but that whole situation didn't exactly leave her much to come back to begin with. So I'd like to imagine this is making Pikami the happiest little tea kettle, seeing these two trend together. Pikami and Boing Boing. Now say I love Pika as my girlfriend and she has Boing Boing before I graduate. Say it now, does all. Pikami graduating means more hate raids for trans streamers. It is true. Be prepared to handle these. Here are some steps you can take. Commander route. What is Commander route? Takes you to the Commander route tool to remove recent hateful accounts following you to spam your notifications. If you use it without paying attention, you could wipe out large chunks of your followers. Oh yeah, no, I've used that one. I've used this one, yes. Because we've gotten hate rated once. Yeah, it's not her fault that her graduation is rallying transphobes. You can be upset about Pikami graduating. What you should not be doing is harassing trans people over it. That's simple, yeah. I will be watching a shit ton more Pikami clips, and I'll be trying to tune into Pikami streams while it's happening. Because holy shit. Yeah, the fucking Kill the Ho clip is iconic. What does it mean? Oh, okay, no, they didn't get into the explanation. Wait, what? Oh, well. Either way. Steven Donziger, amazing fucking journalist. Might be fucking free soon. Almost 13,000 days after my arrest, the U.S. Supreme Court will decide Tuesday whether to accept the appeal of my unprecedented contempt case prosecuted by Chevron. At stake, whether private corporations can prosecute their adversaries. Say a prayer tonight for the rule of law. Hopefully he gets it. Because holy fucking shit. Because he's been literally under house arrest this entire fucking time. For exposing shit that happened. Speaking of him exposing shit that happened, here is one of his pieces. The EPA claim that water in Ohio is safe to drink is based on only a few tainted lab samples funded by the very rail company that caused the disaster. EPA apparently never tested the water. Why does the polluter get to do all the testing? Main basis for authorities in Ohio, EPA included, to claim water in East Palestine is safe to drink are lab tests funded by the railway company. Flagrant conflict. Here is the company report relied on by the EPA. Peaceful climate activists in Atlanta are hit with bogus domestic terrorism charges, while a rail company that deliberately poisoned millions with deadly chemicals does not even face a criminal probe. Prosecutors investigate Norfolk Southern and CEO now. Ohio train disaster created a mass chemical poisoning, so where's the criminal prosecution for the company? Honestly, though. U.S. Supreme Court this week agreed to hear only 2 new cases while denying 61 others. Justices again put off ruling on my private prosecution by Chevron. It's about rule of law and whether it can stand up to corporate abuse of our judicial system. Yeah, so he didn't get it, unfortunately. CIA agents rewarded terrorism suspects by shoving garden hoses up their rectums and turning on the water. Jesus. U.S. commits torture as official policy. That's the real crime. My message to congressional Republicans: you can either be the party of Ukraine and the globalists, or you can be the party of East Palestine and working people of America. For what it's worth, I'm for the people of East Palestine and the people of Ukraine. I don't have to play by your terms of service. I'm for the people of Ukraine. I'm not for the government of Ukraine. That's where I'm at. Then again, I'm also not for the government of Russia either, obviously. Unconscionable for EPA Chief Reagan to drink unsafe tap water in Ohio. EPA still has not tested for deadly dioxins and phosgene gas produced by Norfolk Southern's reckless detonation of its chemicals. Agency dedicated to public health should never do PR for a polluter. EPA used rail company lab tests to declare the water safe. Governor of Texas supports a racist law to bar Chinese citizens from owning property in his state, including their own homes. Proposal is a product of pure hate and xenophobia. Holy shit. All clear my ass. Yeah, that's... Hey, it looks like a Trojan horse. At least there's that. Norfolk Southern is paying $6.5 million to derailment victims. Meanwhile, it's shelling out $7.5 billion for shareholders. Wait, it's actually paying derailment victims? How much are they getting now? Because they got like $5 each before. All right. After 9/11, EPA declared the air safe. Hundreds later died. Yup. Air and water safe in lower Manhattan. Hundreds who worked in the area later died of cancer while thousands became sick. Fear history is repeating in Ohio. Yeah. And it just keeps going on and on and on. It's just shit gets worse. This is absolutely fucked. This is a result of decades of bipartisan deregulation. Decades. Hassan Boing Boing? The U.S. is averaging one chemical accident every 2 fucking days. Shows accidental releases are happening consistently. And these are our chemical spill cleanup sites. What the fuck? Yeah, we might have to become Balloon Boy. At this point. Holy shit. That's a map and a half. Looks like the only safe place to move is fucking over here where there's literally nobody living. Only 5 people live there? Let's go there. Even then, there's probably shit happening that's covered up because no one fucking sees it, actually. And there's nowhere that's fucking safe. One chemical accident every 2 fucking days. I bet Booty Jug's not gonna do shit about it. Moving on to Palestine. Vietnam and Palestine in the UN meeting. Vietnam, our never-changing stance is that we support the rightful struggle of Palestinian people for their fundamental national rights. Based. And Palestine, we are moved and fired by Vietnam's support and aid during this time. Love to see it. What are the haters saying? No? Okay. Actually, no hate. Look at that. Look at that. Usually Luna Oi gets dogpiled by the debate bros, so...
Personal responsibility that's been happening. Okay. Rarely have I seen anything as disgusting, as disappointing, as the complete and total abdication.
I like Bree a lot. Brianna Joy Gray.
Who's responsible for the rail disaster in East Palestine, Ohio. Now, first up, you might have seen the clip from The View last week in which Joy Behar seemed to imply that East Palestine residents brought the disaster on themselves because they voted for Trump.
How?
Someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for.
Did they vote for it?
Donald Trump, who reduces all safety. He did.
Do they showed up at McDonald's and those voters saw something on the ground that probably resonates in a way that they need.
But they need to look past the photo ops, these people, and say who's doing the job here. Forget about the photo op.
Showing up is a big thing,
I think this is Donald Trump's fault. Now, I have some choice words for that sort of sentiment, but I know I can't put it any better than Bernie 2020 co-chair and former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner, who went viral with this clip dressing down neoliberals on CNN this weekend.
For the neoliberals to say that the residents of that area deserve what they are getting because they voted for President Donald J. Trump, it is abhorrent.
Hell yeah.
This is about
Spit.
poverty. This is about poor, working class, white people who are enduring some of the same things that poor working class black people endure, whether it's Flint, Cleveland, or Jackson, Mississippi. And so I want to lay down the cultist behavior in politics.
Why is Freddy Fazbear now trending? What the fuck is happening on Twitter?
You got people who will fix their mouths, to quote my grandmother, to say that they are getting what they deserve. What they deserve is clean air, clean food, clean water. They deserve
Everybody deserves that shit.
And also in the long term.
Now this is the kind of attitude we need, not partisan sniping, but politicians with integrity who will stand up for the basic rights of Americans, regardless of how they look or voted like, are pretty rare. While Joy is correct to identify deregulation that occurred under the Trump administration as part of the causal chain that led to this disaster, of course the responsibility here is not on the people who are now enduring dying animals, nosebleeds, respiratory issues.
Yeah.
Rarely have I...
Medicare for all for every resident of East Palestine as possible. Norfolk Southern should bear the brunt of the scrutiny, but the government also bears responsibility for failing to regulate them. Hell yeah. Based. East Palestine got what they voted for. It's just a neoliberal version of Democrat-run cities rhetoric of the right. The reality is America has oligarchs that buy elections all over this country. Exactly. Holy shit, Greg, Mr. Geezy. After being rejected by black and Jewish voters in Ohio twice, Nina Turner has gone full MAGA. What the fuck is wrong with you, motherfucker? All right. Poor and working class communities are at higher risk of mass pollution events. We have more in common than our politicians and media want to admit. Hell yeah. Meanwhile, CIA begins compensating victims of Havana syndrome. Which is not a real thing, but... Lafredo exposes private police and fake environmental consultants hired by Norfolk Southern to enforce the company's own narrative. Oh, it's a 19-minute video? Oh, it's a gray zone video. Okay. EPA has hired a company called Tetra Tech to conduct testing in East Palestine. Tetra Tech is owned by BlackRock and Vanguard, which also own Norfolk Southern. Currently being sued by DOJ for false claims in relation to a separate cleanup.
February 3rd, a freight train... Do you think that the company should be trusted when they say everything's safe, everything's good to go?
No, I don't trust them. I mean, everybody has to make their own decision on that one. But yeah, I don't trust big business.
Oh Jesus, it's loud.
I've driven through Ohio a few times while on road trips heading west from New York. I didn't ever think I would return to Ohio in order to report on an environmental disaster. On February 3rd, a freight train carrying millions of pounds...
CNN had literal lobbyist for Norfolk Southern on their panel to talk about East Palestine and didn't disclose it. Of course. Of fucking course.
6,000 people, 50 miles west of Pittsburgh. What I found in East Palestine, now 2 weeks later, was a tiny village being consumed by fear, private police, confusion, sickness, and entirely captured and corrupt environmental protection groups. After the derailment, toxic chemicals leaked from the train cars and remained on and around the tracks for 2 days. The tracks were cleared when Norfolk Southern, the corporation that owns the railroad, decided to line the poison-filled train cars with explosives and burn the chemicals instead of safely and carefully draining them. They called this a, quote, controlled ventilation. The explosion caused a toxic mushroom cloud to form over the entire town, and dust and particulates from the burnt chemicals fell down to the ground and coated the town like snow. East Palestine is a quaint town, and while driving around the roads that weren't blocked off by train authorities, I saw the town theater, the town car wash, the liquor store, the high school, and separating the town right down the middle is the now infamous railroad.
Yep, and they're still at it with no regulations, no shit.
Dust, the local news crews, and the closed shops and stores, it seemed like a regular small town in rural America. But after going to the creek, it was obvious that something was very irregular about the town, even though East Palestine was being told everything was safe. The creek was littered with death.
Oh shit. Damn, Gray Zone out here, actually showing the footage.
I found East Palestinians to be extraordinarily kind, but they were not happy. They were scared, and they were skeptical of everything they were being told by the same authorities that allowed for this disaster to happen. Employees at a hardware store,
full screens properly.
100 yards from ground zero, explained to me that they didn't believe Norfolk Southern from the get-go.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Jesus. Fuckers.
No, I don't. I know what I felt in my lungs. I've got healthy lungs. Well, I did have. Don't know
It did have.
if they're in now. But how can you trust somebody telling you, well, it's only going out a mile when you live 3.3 miles away, and I walk outside the morning of, and my lungs burnt. They felt like they were on fire by the time I walked out and walked
Damn.
back in. So, no, I don't trust anything they say.
I don't think there's any content feelings around here. My experience has been.
God damn, that's a messy ass office though. Brushville hardware store.
Feel like they're being
my guy. I say this as my.
Do you think that the company should be trusted when they say everything's safe, everything's good to go?
No, I don't trust them. I mean, everybody has to make their own decision on that one. But yeah, I don't trust them.
I wouldn't either. Fuck.
You hear people suing McDonald's because they spilled their own cup of coffee on themselves and getting millions.
Wait, no, that's a. No. But that lady got burned to the fucking bone. That's the fucked up part about that whole story. It wasn't. I mean, yeah, that's why we have like caution. This shit's hot now. But that lady actually fucking suffered.
Everybody has to make their own decision on that one. But yeah, I don't trust big business.
You hear people suing McDonald's because they spilled their own cup of coffee on themselves and getting millions.
She deserved those millions.
Toxic chemicals in our air.
But also, yeah.
Common sense says you're going to burn poisonous material.
They got fucking $5 a person. And I think it's only for the people in East Palestine, not the people outside of East Palestine or anywhere else.
And up into the air. If you and I did that, we'd be in jail. Right? But they can come in and burn millions of gallons or whatever it was. Yeah. They have a different set of rules, I guess.
Yeah,
At
no.
the center of the disaster
Different
is the
laws.
environmental toxic and safety
They are
testing
outside of
facility.
the law.
The testing is being done by none other than Norfolk Southern. The town's welcome sign in the middle of town is being used to direct residents, not to independent experts.
Toxicologist from Norfolk Southern derailment.
You know, in the houses.
I do believe it's Norfolk Southern.
Do you think that they're the best people to carry out those tests?
No. Because
We investigated ourselves and found absolutely no fault. I don't know what you're talking about. We did our own investigations. We hired our own people to investigate shit. I don't know what you're talking about. We found no wrongdoing. The few samples that we took through probably filtered water, but we're not going to tell you that.
you can rig those machines to say whatever they want them to say to
Honestly,
give
yeah.
a false sense of don't know. We don't know what's in the air. We don't know what's in our homes.
It's fucking
I know some of the people
horrifying,
get
though.
someone privately to come into their homes, which probably is probably a much better idea.
The people that caused the accident are responsible for it and going to take a financial hit and a PR hit are the ones that are funding and managing all of the analysis and all the treatment. No, that's
I don't believe that shit for a second that they're doing the right shit
for most people.
Assisting Norfolk Southern with toxic testing is their privately held contractor, the Center for Toxicology and Environmental Health, or CTEH. According to critics, CTEH has a history of minimizing the effects of environmental disasters to satisfy their corporate clients. CTEH was at the center of several environmental disasters, including the BP oil spill. According to a toxicologist that spoke to the New York Times, CTEH's environmental studies and toxicology tests are designed to meet the goals of its clients. Quote, they're paid to say, everything's okay. The Norfolk Southern YouTube account recently posted a bizarre, seemingly promotional video for CTEH.
Sarah Burnett is a toxicologist with CTEH, an environmental consulting firm. She's one of dozens of scientists in East Palestine helping answer those questions about air quality.
So what do you say to them? What is that answer? I say to them that we have detected no vinyl chloride or other constituents related to this incident in the air, and that all of our air monitoring and sampling data collectively do not indicate any short or long-term risks to them, their children, or their families.
Also taking the lead in preparing testing and analysis for the EPA is another private contractor with an arguably even
Tetra Tech. That's the one.
Their name is Tetra Tech. The news that Tetra Tech has been hired by the EPA to handle this environmental disaster does not exist. But page 3 of the EPA's air safety results expose this unsavory reality. Tetra Tech is owned by the same main shareholders as Norfolk Southern.
There it is. BlackRock and Vanguard.
Tetra Tech is being sued
it's all
by the
connected. It's all connected. So the fucking companies that pushed for the deregulation in the first fucking place are the ones that are being like, all right, here, have this. We hired. We are okay. At this point, BlackRock and Vanguard own over half of America. No shit. No joke. No fucking joke. This is not like some fucking conspiracy theory or some shit, right? They literally own half of America. They own houses. They buy up any houses that they can and rent them out at a huge fucking markup. They fucking do this shit. They own lobby. They are basically just a huge fucking lobbying group. They're sending like military weapons to Saudi Arabia to commit war crimes against Yemen, to Ukraine to do more war crimes. Either way, I mean, it's not really war crimes anymore, considering that Russia has invaded. But they used to be war crimes, and they still want to eliminate all the people in Donetsk and Luhansk. They just want to do it now under the guise of all of those people being Russian. Which they were primarily Russian speaking, and they were more, it's fucked. That whole situation is fucked. Either way, as the title goes, shit's fucked. No, BlackRock is the one behind pretty much anything and everything, unfortunately.
Fraudulent soil samples to the EPA in order to protect their client, the U.S. Navy.
Fraudulent soil samples.
For the supposed environmental
of fucking course.
The toxic radiological disaster under the rug has been called, quote,
the
biggest case of eco-fraud in U.S. history.
Eco-fraud. Hell yeah. They did it before, too. Fucking trains. Stop that. Jesus.
Getting around this town is very difficult. There are many roadblocks. But the public roads are not being patrolled, and the roadblocks are not being enforced by local police. Instead, by out-of-staters.
Out-of-staters?
Norfolk Southern Police. The fact that $1 billion company's armed private police force is patrolling the streets of a tiny village.
I'm not going to get that Iraq one in time then.
Environmental terrorism is troubling, but true. Connor Spielmaker, the senior communications manager for Norfolk Southern, explained to me over the phone that Norfolk Southern PD is in fact the corporation's private police force, but they're only in town to, quote, assist local PD. And make
assist.
Sure. But people in the town believe it's these private police that are calling the shots. Their local officials have told them this much.
I called like Ohio Department of Transportation, State Highway Patrol, our local police force, and they're all pointing the finger at Norfolk Police Department.
Norfolk has its own fucking police department, though.
Everything. Like,
The
why
fuck?
are they above local and state?
Because of BlackRock money.
I would like to know too. Sounds like Pinkertons to me, private police.
I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. They don't live here. They don't know what this town needs and what it don't need. I think our own local cops and our state police in Ohio should be taken over. They should take over what's going on instead of letting them run shops.
Yeah, but they're covering everything up. That's what their whole purpose is.
People on what's going on here.
A guy named Brandon stopped in. I asked him for a card, but they don't have cards.
They don't have cards. They don't have badge numbers. They're outside of the law, dude.
The unmarked Dodge Durango, souped up with red and blue lights, out of state plates. And I talked to the police chief here in East Palestine. His last name is Brown, and he told me that they're in charge and they're out front of my building. They're out front of the building right now, and they want to talk to me. I have concerns.
The workers at the roadblock told me that
Damn.
they answer to the Norfolk Southern Police Department. The power dynamic is evident here in this video, as local public police waited at the roadblock, set up by the private police and manned by out-of-towners. According to Norfolk Southern's Facebook, the Norfolk Southern Police Department is responsible for crime prevention and criminal investigations involving Norfolk Southern corporate interests. The department supports
no shit.
49 field offices.
It's all
5
about
special
corporate
investigation
interests,
units,
dude.
3 special operations response teams, 12 K-9 units, a police communication center, and a headquarters in Atlanta. After the derailment and subsequent controlled ventilation, information and evacuation orders were contradictory and scarce. This letter was placed on residents' front doors, assuring East Palestinians that their children were safe, their pets were safe, and they likened the smoke to a wood fire. The letter is missing any government or company affiliation. The letter is filled with bold, incorrect, and scientifically unsubstantiated claims. When I asked Connor Spielmaker, the senior communications manager for Norfolk Southern, if this dubious letter was the work of the company, he candidly and perhaps accidentally explained, yes, it looks familiar. The gas station directly across the street from Brenda's place of work was evacuated during the incident. But even though she was closer to the tracks, she was never given the evacuation order or instruction,
What? How?
possibly poisoning her and her coworkers.
Well, they evacuated those guys. They packed up and left. And then they walked across the street and I said, "Are you coming to evacuate me?" And he said, "No." And those guys were gone and we were here. We were here for 2 days after they were gone.
You're actually closer to the railroads, right?
To the tracks, yeah.
She's right behind the tracks. You can see the tracks behind her.
That's basically what it boils down to. They'll pay one guy, but the guy across the street, they won't pay him because he's 1.1 miles from them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's ridiculous. This water has been tested all the way down to Weirton, West Virginia, and they found traces of it. So if it's going that far in the waterway, where else is it going?
You know, their main concern was to get the rail line open so they could move freight. That's all they cared about. When the guy from Norfolk Southern came on right after it happened to talk about, you know, their plans, the first thought that came out of his mouth was, you know, they're going to get this all cleaned and opened up and the tracks down and get the trains running. There was no talk about, well, you know, we're going to find out what people need. And, you know, people were thrown out of their houses and they couldn't stay there.
Damn.
But I
Well,
haven't
yeah,
seen
of course.
anybody from Norfolk Southern come in and say, hey, you know, how's this affected your finances? Here's a check. You know, put your money where your mouth is. Don't spout.
Oh, they don't give a shit. They don't want to put their money where their mouth is. That's the whole point.
People are still stuck in motels and in their relative's house. And, you know, it's just total inconvenience and not getting much help.
All of the East Palestinians that I spoke to have stories of wildlife and neighbors suffering from health effects or sickness that Norfolk Southern does not acknowledge. Brenda, an employee at a local gas station 20 feet from the railroad, explained to me that a family doctor told her sister-in-law not to return home, even though they were being told it was entirely safe by Norfolk Southern.
I mean, my sister-in-law lives 2 blocks over, and she can't even go home. Her doctor said for her not to go home, she's on oxygen. That's
Damn.
the doctor telling her, no, it's not a good idea for you to go home. It
Yeah.
makes me feel frightened. I know the
I
first
bet.
that came through, the sky was glowing after this all happened. So it's like, it's a sad situation, and I hate seeing these people in this town hurt, because these are the nicest people. They are the nicest people you'd ever want to know. And I don't think they're being told the truth.
Of course not, because it's the government.
He told me today that I think his wife's little dog was outside, and then he went home, and the little dog was just in there shaking like a convulsion. And he's not in the zone. He's north. He's about 3 miles from here.
Damn.
So that kind of got my attention. Because we have a little dog, and we've got the goats and all that. And the chickens are still there, and they laid for about a week, and then they kind of slowed down. And today I went in, and there was no eggs. So one of our customers came in, and they're south in Negley. I couldn't believe this. He said it was a skunk, and he said it was sitting in the driveway or the parking lot, and it was just convulsing.
Yeah, Jesus.
I saw the video.
Probably
And it just went
drank
on
the
for
fucking
15
water.
minutes. He said they finally just put it out of its misery. And they also saw a raccoon. Similar situation. I didn't get the detail. But I said, well, because they're right there in Negley, right close by the waterway. So I'm guessing maybe it got drank out of the stream. Who knows? I don't know what happened.
Nobody really believes what's going on. You go try to buy water around town. Nobody wants to drink the water, even though they say it's safe.
Yeah.
At first, health effects on animals was considered conspiracy theory. and
Whopper
rumored by
Wednesday
authorities and the
was
mainstream
good.
media. But
How
that
you
seems
doing,
to be changing. According
Yaki?
to the Washington Post, who in the very beginning of the toxic derailment dismissed the disaster as a, quote, right-wing cause, is now reporting on thousands of dead fish and wildlife. Interviewing
We're talking
residents
about
in East Palestine,
the shit
whose
that's
pets have
going on.
debilitating conditions
World
because
is
of the
fucked.
explosion and fallout. Kayla Miller
As always.
spoke to the Washington Post and explained that some of her chickens now suffer from seizures and some have stopped walking entirely.
Jesus.
They believe Norfolk Southern is putting their reputation and bottom line in front of people's health.
As
They're
if
under the impression
it wasn't hard enough to get eggs before this. Now it's gotten just a little bit worse.
controlled burn did
Love
not
to
have
see it.
happen. Instead, it was
Jesus. Holy shit. Thank you for the bits. Oh boy. That's a heart attack and a half. I was not expecting that. All right. Whew. Thank you for the bits, Yaki. What the fuck? Oh, I forgot about that. All right. Let me turn. Well, no, it's too late. It's too late to turn it down.
to get their freight back on the tracks.
I believe the controlled burn shouldn't have happened. I believe that
Well, the controlled burn only happened, and it wasn't a controlled burn. It was a prescribed burn. That prescribed burn only happened so that they could open up the railways sooner. Because the shit wasn't boiling, the shit wasn't, you could have still removed all of the materials on there, possibly safely. But no. No. We gotta do a burn. Also, I remember seeing I think it was Aaron Mate put out an article or something where he was talking about, there was one report where they said after 3 hours of burn, the prescribed burn is under control, expected levels or some shit. AKA, it was out of control for like several hours, and then was like, oh, now we're back in control. Therefore, they then said, oh yeah, now it's fine. Prescribed burn is now proceeding as planned. After the consequences have already been fucking
it
felt.
cost the railroad more to pump that liquid
Yeah.
off and haul it away. It cost them more money and would have cost them more time. They should have never released more of that chemical into the atmosphere and into the air.
Also, the jankest calendar right up there.
Because they're saving time and money. And I believe that's why they done the controlled burn. It gets them back on the rails.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
And it
Oh, damn.
didn't
He said
help
exactly what I
anybody
was
around here.
already thinking about saying.
It had to benefit the
Or
railroad.
just said
Do
earlier.
it that way. Because it's not going to benefit our wildlife, our domestic animals, the people that breathe the air, the water, the soil. It just made it worse.
While I was in East Palestine, there was the first ever town hall meeting organized by the town. It took place at the high school gymnasium.
Tonight there's supposed to be a meeting over by the school.
That chair is also fucked.
I'm
His desk is so much more organized than the other dude. Old homeboy over there.
It's syrup making season, and
The boss.
I love making.
This dude's
making
keeping
syrup,
his
and
shit organized.
we're
Love to
gonna
see it.
Make it just
That
like
dude,
we did last
however,
year, but we're gonna send it
he's
out
got
and
papers.
see if somebody can test it, make sure it's good to consume.
After residents heard that a representative for Norfolk Southern would be there in person, thousands of people showed up. It looked like the entire town was in line. Soon before the start of the town hall, Norfolk Southern pulled out and decided not to come, citing the
Of
threat
course.
of possible violence. But according to the local police department, there was no threat.
I was not surprised when they bowed out. Well, that's not taking care of your responsibility. It's almost like they just didn't want to talk to people. They don't want somebody saying something that they shouldn't be saying. It's like the narrative is all very much controlled.
Exactly.
My house is in a very close proximity to Sulphur Run Creek. It's about
Sulphur Run. Why would you name a creek after a chemical in the first place? Just out of curiosity. That's just like asking for bad luck to happen, right? At that point? Yes, we're gonna name it after this one fucking chemical. Like, what's the point of that, right? Right? Am I alone in that? But okay.
To my
You know
front
what?
door.
Whatever.
When they came down to do my air testing, I was asking for more testing than just that. I wanted the water and soil tested. The creek runs with embankments on both sides. The creek swells when the water rises from a rainstorm.
Yeah.
So I wanted testing. A gentleman came down from the railroad. He agreed that there was some concern, and he sent their senior toxologist in to look at my house specifically.
Just your
I got a
house.
phone call today from the railroad saying that my house is unsafe. They wouldn't recommend that I stay there. They're going to pay for all my moving expenses.
Oh, at
first
least
month,
there's that.
last month's rent. I'm supposed to get an estimate back to them. It's not about money. If I would have been in that house with my 3-year-old daughter in those toxic fumes, I don't know if I'd be standing here talking to you today. And if they were wrong about my house, how many other houses
Everyone.
are they wrong
They're wrong about
How
everyone.
many of these other people are sleeping in there? When I just told the mayor about this, no one even informed the mayor that it wasn't safe for me to go home. So if it's not safe for me to go home, no one should be going home.
Exactly.
Like many other chemical disasters involving forever chemicals and carcinogens, the worst in terms of the health effects.
Yeah, they had this little public stunt where they drank the tap water.
Roaming around and captured and corrupted environmental protection groups. The people in East Palestine are left to protect themselves.
So with all of this uncertainty and all this toxicity and unknown, how do we live here? Would it become a ghost town at some point? There's all these questions
Probably,
we got.
unfortunately.
Here's my question. Is BlackRock going to come in and buy all this?
Yeah, probably. Honestly, damn, he's a sharp one.
You know, people with lots of power and control work.
It's probably a conspiracy theorist by trade, though.
Used, pushed around. You know, they come in and they damage us severely, and then they just push you around and tell you what they're going to do.
Damn. Excellent reporting by the Gray Zone. Yeah, CNN had a literal lobbyist for Norfolk Southern on their panel to talk about East Palestine and didn't disclose it. Because why would they? If me calling out neoliberals for cult-like behavior in the aftermath of East Palestine disaster offends you, that's a guilty conscience. Damn! Nina Turner. Is that Palestine? Yeah, that's Palestine. More shit in Palestine. Photos, videos, and reports about the train derailment and toxic chemical release in East Palestine, Ohio. May be the largest environmental disaster in U.S. history. Yeah, no shit. Toxic cocktail of deadly chemicals, most of which weren't disclosed until like way later. This dude, I fucking love this dude.
Derailment in East Palestine. This hasn't been getting
With the Claire de Lune playing in the background.
It hasn't been very good. So let's talk about the trail derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. East Palestine's about an hour north of Pittsburgh, almost halfway to Cleveland. Norfolk Southern has a rail line that goes right through town, and this derailment happened right on the edge outside of town on the border of PA and Ohio. Of the cars that crashed, 5 of them contained vinyl chloride. It's a monomer used to make PVC. The reporting on this has gotten vinyl chloride confused with polyvinyl chloride, the polymer made out of vinyl chloride. Now, the reason that this distinction is really important is vinyl chloride is very hazardous and very flammable. Polyvinyl chloride is a plastic that's used in...
It's relatively harmless, yeah. I work with PVC all the fucking time.
Shipped in its liquid form, meaning that when these trains crashed and these started leaking...
But the vinyl chloride is fucking toxic as fuck. That's the problem.
So vinyl chloride is really toxic. OSHA has the permissible limit of how much you can be exposed to it during an 8-hour shift as a 1 ppm part per million, average over 8 hours. So prior to this, the biggest spill of this chemical was in New Jersey, where one train car and about 23,000 gallons of vinyl chloride were spilled, but it didn't catch on fire. Now, this crash in Ohio has 5 train cars. These kinds of tanker cars...
He actually did a follow-up where he said it's much worse because they broke down the other chemicals. I wonder if it's in this thread, because there's other chemicals that they weren't talking about at all that were there. It's fucking terrifying shit.
At East Palestine, Ohio, and all I'm gonna ask is that if you do this, you get your facts right. I literally grew up right down the road from East Palestine. My old childhood best friend lives in the fucking town. My current best friend literally lives right next to the town.
How bad is it?
It is so much worse.
There it is.
Than
Yeah.
what the media is telling.
I think I've seen this exact TikTok actually.
I'm getting reports from people that are down there right now that they're literally seeing schools of fish floating down streams.
We saw that earlier in the documentary, or not documentary, but 20-minute reporting piece that we watched.
My friend, okay, and she's like walking, dude. It's all fucking dead. All fucking dead. And on the top of the water is a really pretty chemical rainbow sheen. The chemicals are in the fucking water, and they're lying to the rest of the country saying they're not. The water's been contaminated. The soil's been contaminated. The fucking air is contaminated. You literally are about to see some of the worst fucking health side effects coming out of people in that town. It's not even funny. And y'all want to know something even more fucked up? The restaurant that I work at in a whole different state had to donate food to them because we had people from the churches calling to tell us that Red Cross never fucking came, FEMA never fucking came.
Yeah, of course.
The environmental conservationists still have yet to fucking come, and nobody's fucking helping them. Meaning all of the fucking firefighters that were working get no food, have nothing to help them, nothing. Okay, all the people that were displaced
Because they don't want to spend the money.
a place to stay. None of that shit. It is so much worse than what they're telling you. And TikTok probably won't even let me post this video. But if this video gets posted, please save it and repost it everywhere you fucking can. Because I'm telling y'all, they are covering this shit up. They are covering this shit up because they don't want to get out how bad it actually was. This was not good. This was the worst fucking thing that's happened probably in the past 8 years.
Yeah.
That entire town is basically unlivable now because of the fucking chemicals.
Oh, yeah.
And they're lying, telling civilians that it's safe, knowing damn well, because I took chemistry and I know chemicals and I have this awesome fucking supercomputer in my hand. The side effects from breathing in those chemicals.
Fucking horrific.
Shut up.
Ha-
Cover
fucking
shit up. They're covering shit up. But it's not surprising.
yeah. We live in a society. And specifically, if it doesn't help the narrative, it's bye bye. If it's not a narrative that they want to pull, it's fine. You know, any disasters that are the U.S. is responsible for objectively, they aren't. Every single fucking time. That's what they're gonna go with every single fucking time. I fucking hate it here. Oh yes, this is it. Norfolk Southern Corporation, with total assets of worth $38 billion in 2020, operates the railway that caused a toxic chemical release. The company made a $25,000 donation to assist evacuating the residents. $5 a person. EPA's liability letter. Yeah. Okay, there it is. Okay, so this is the other guy, or the same guy.
No, there were 3 train cars.
Follow up.
Things that we didn't know. There were 3 train cars of diethylene glycol.
Still Claire de Lune in the background. I love this dude.
This chemical is flammable. It's toxic. It's used in the manufacturing of plastics. It's also used in some brake fluids. Based on the tank car class, that's these things here, there is at least 16,000 gallons that were lost. No definitive indication whether if it was burned or if it was just spilled. There's 1 car of polypropylene glycol that was breached. This is also a chemical that's used in the manufacturing of plastics. It is considered to have low toxicity to humans. However, 16,000 gallons of it pouring into the ground isn't great. There's 1 tank car of propylene glycol, not to be confused with polypropylene glycol. Propylene glycol, or PG, as people who vape would know. It's low toxicity.
PG.
It's used in some food products. It's used in vape liquids. But again, 16,000 gallons of it pouring into the ground, not good.
None of it's good.
They did mention earlier there was 1 tank car. It was breached and then caught on fire. It's very flammable, so I assume that that has all been burned away. Talk about cars that we know burn. So we have 2 hopper cars of PE, that's polyethylene plastic. These are going to be hopper cars of little plastic pellets.
Yep.
Used in a ton of different stuff, like all over your house, plastic bottles, toys.
But
hopper cars of what is labeled.
But that shit burning is not good. That shit burning is not good. I mean, okay, where I work with these types of polymers all the fucking time, right? So I smell what they're at. They're melted, right? What I'm exposed to is them melted. It still smells fucking bad. Well, I've smelled worse than that, but I've been exposed to worse. But either way, still, like, that shit is not good for you if you're exposed to it long term, right? And no, it's fine. That's fine. What are you talking about? Nothing wrong here. Nothing to see here. What are you talking about? Bye. Yeah, fucking government, dude.
Hopper cars, so I'm assuming that this is PVC, polyvinyl chloride pellets. On the railroad, there's 1 burned, there's 1 burning, and 2 that had some amount burned. For toxic byproducts to the PVC burning, like the vinyl chloride burning itself. 1 car of balls burned, 1 car of sheet steel burned, 1 car of frozen veg, and then 1 car of powdered flakes. Not sure what the flakes are. List an unknown status for the ethylene glycol monobutyl and the ethyl hexylacrylate. Isobutylene was not breached. Now, this is the big thing. There were 2 cars of petroleum oil completely gone, and 3 that lost some amount. These kind of tank cars can hold anywhere from 16 to 30,000 gallons. What we're really talking about here is an oil spill. 1 gallon of petroleum oil spill can pollute up to 1 million gallons of groundwater.
Damn. All right. Norfolk Southern Railroad pulled 180,000 gallons of oil and water from East Palestine train derailment site. Hazmat specialists concerned authorities aren't testing phosgene, hydrogen chloride, dioxins. A fox keeper in East Palestine says several foxes he keeps on his property become mortally ill. Can't get away with what they have done. The rest of my foxes are suffering. Damn. That fucking sucks. Resident scoops up dead fish and frogs 4 miles south of the train derailment. In a single dip of my net, I collected nearly 24 dead or near-dead aquatic animals. What the fuck? Ooh, Jordan Cheriton, let's go. All right, mother talks about her 9-year-old asthmatic son's reaction to toxic chemicals released in East Palestine, Ohio. Projectile vomiting. Blech. Couldn't breathe.
There's literally vomit on his floor.
Yeah, yuck. I mean, it makes sense, but like, ugh, yuck.
Towel. He broke out with some rashes on his skin, but they have since went away. But we have not been back. We have not been even close to the area.
Right after you said that you entered his room and he was shaking. Right after you said that you entered his room and he was shaking.
He was projectile vomiting across the floor out of nowhere. He was very confused. I mean, like he did wake up out of the middle of his sleep, but he was shaking. He was begging for water. He said he couldn't breathe. Yeah, it was scary. There's vomit on his floor right now because we ran out of there so fast that I didn't know if he was going to stop breathing. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Holy fuck.
He had been hospitalized for asthma before, went from 0 to 60. So I didn't know what was going to happen at that time. We ran out of there as fast as we possibly could after that.
Yeah, I
like
bet.
I said, he
Holy
did get sick
shit.
once about an hour later at the hotel. He broke out with some rashes on his skin, but they've since went away. But we have not been back. We have not been even close to the area. He's been okay lately, other than emotionally, mentally. But I'm terrified to go back.
That shit's
I mean,
scarring,
not only for myself,
too.
but definitely for him.
And can you talk about how old is your son? And obviously it must be extremely concerning when you saw him shaking in the middle of the night and vomiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just it's so personal. It's very personal. It's very scary. He's 9 years old. He's in the third
9.
grade. We were painting his Minecraft Valentine's Day box for school before I sent him to bed on the night that it happened. It's still laying in the middle of our living room, half painted. Today's his party. He doesn't get to be a part of that. He's having a hard time. He's an only child. He's really kind of being withdrawn. He's scared. He's worried to go back.
Yeah,
I've been
I bet.
trying to not really talk about it around him or be on my phone when I'm around him, just so he has some sense of normalcy. But I'm definitely concerned for these kids. I mean, they went through COVID, and now they have this. School was shut down for a week. Some of his friends are getting sick. It's scary. I'm really worried.
Yeah, what the fuck? Caitlin Schwarzenwalder. Oh, fucking Glenn Beck. 4 of her dogs were projectile vomiting her. And that's the thing. That's the other bad part of this. Is that the conservatives on the fucking ground, like fucking Glenn Beck is talking to these people. I'm not seeing a whole lot of, or at least for a while, not a whole lot of mainstream media. And even now they're blaming the people there because they are Trump supporters, which not all of them are. But like them being who they voted for should not affect whether they're exposed to toxic chemicals or not. That's fucked. That's fucked thinking. I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid for thinking that. But yeah. East Palestine toxicology test relies on a controversial consulting firm accused of several serving corporate interests rather than public health. Persuaded 340 residents to sign away their legal rights. Damn, of course. A private contractor hired by Norfolk Southern to test water, soil, and air quality. Has a history of minimizing the effects of environmental disasters. Surprising absolutely fucking no one. Damn, and this goes on. This is a master thread. Holy shit. Democrats pressured BP to fire the toxicology testing company used by Norfolk Southern and the EPA in East Palestine. Lawmakers claimed the company had a long pattern of tainted results. Let's retweet that. Train operated by Norfolk Southern in Graniteville, South Carolina, releasing chlorine, forcing 5,400 residents to evacuate their homes. Yeah, that's not surprising. Oh, you're reposting that again? Fucking Jesse Walters? What? Who the fuck is this? Resurrected by Elon. Oh, it's one of these motherfuckers. Norfolk Southern has employed the for-profit company CTEH. East Palestine displays the green water she retrieved from her property following a toxic chemical release. They
handed us a contract. The contract was essentially, to be able to get onto the property, but also at the bottom was a hold harmless agreement.
It states that upon signature, the landowner agrees to hold harmless the company for any and all legal claims, personal injury, or property damage.
What the
she
fuck?
She refused to sign.
So if I get this straight, Norfolk Southern essentially asked you to sign a hold harmless agreement in exchange for testing?
Correct.
And you did not sign?
Correct.
Would they give you the paper?
They did not give us the paper. I asked if I could take a physical picture with my cell phone of the paper, and I did.
Ohio Senator J.D. Vance is outraged.
We contacted Norfolk Southern right away, and the answer that they gave us, not joking, was that was an accidental indemnification agreement. We didn't mean to give her that one. We gave her the wrong one. Okay? Come on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, so if I wouldn't buy anything from Ohio. Is this all? Oh, okay, this is another. News. Biden's DOJ is siding with Norfolk Southern in a Supreme Court case that could block lawsuits against the company. Lawsuit is brought by a cancer-stricken former rail worker who says he was poisoned on the job. SCOTUS decision expected soon. No matter Team Red or Team Blue, they're all occupying our government on behalf of the same billionaires that the rest of us have to save ourselves and the planet from. Fucking love Lauren McKenzie. I get a lot of my shit from Lauren McKenzie. Back in December, a union rail worker warned about the potential for a catastrophic train derailment. Then it's already way past a week ago, but it's time to listen to the workers. It's almost a month now. Holy shit. It's almost been a month.
Rail workers warned us about disaster like this. I heard firsthand months ago about the corporate practice of precision scheduled railroading. Precision scheduled railroading is shorter staff, longer hours, longer trains, less safety, less maintenance. Do I have all that right?
Oh, you got it all right. I mean, a lot of the derailments that you're seeing on national TV is one of a few things. It's lack of maintenance on the track, or they've cut the track gates too short and they can't get out to fix it, or they've cut the carmans, which is the union that works on the rail cars. So we have one derailment here in Northeast Ohio where a wheel flange was very thin. It picked a switch and derailed the entire train. Luckily, it was full of candle wax and not something highly volatile.
Rail workers tried to strike over this stuff, but were stopped by Congress.
Yeah.
A few weeks later,
the strike that Biden and the Democrats pretty much were like, oh yeah, we're gonna fucking force you guys to come to an agreement, and that agreement was nowhere near what they wanted to put the fucking union workers even fucking wanted to begin with. Yeah. This shit gets me fucking heated.
Several Norfolk Southern cars of toxic, highly volatile chemicals exploded fantastically in the tiny town of East Palestine, Ohio, 20 miles from where I grew up. So I met Clyde in East Palestine to ask him about it.
Looks like a faulty bearing caused a catastrophic derailment. These railroads are turning profits hand over fist. They've cut their workforce to bare bones, and now they're paying the price for it because the wheels are falling off the train, basically.
Yeah.
We're inspecting cars about 3 minutes per car.
3 minutes per
always
car.
been the industry standard. Now it's 90 seconds per car.
Is that because of PSR?
Yes, it's a rush job right now, and these guys.
That's
are under
fucking
pressure.
terrifying.
I mean, they're working men and women, and if they don't hurry up and get this car done, they're going to be fired.
Great points. So I went to a press conference with Norfolk Southern and Ohio Governor Mike DeWine to ask them about this. What could Precision Scheduled Railroad have to do with the axle failure that caused the derailment?
No idea that it's a mechanical issue. Well, precision scheduled railroading is a management process.
Not a great answer, and that's probably because Norfolk Southern let a worker take the fall, rather than a single corporate executive showing up in the town that they polluted to be held accountable. You see, Wall Street owns Norfolk Southern. 74% of shares are owned by a who's who of infamous hedge funds, and this is the business model that they demand. Profit at any cost. A disaster like this is simply a cost of doing business. They cut everything, make all the money, and pay off disasters in tiny flyover towns from the profit. But instead of answering for any of that, they're betting that the corporate media, under the same pressure for extreme profit as railroads, will only ask questions about how much cancer people will get and not why this preventable disaster happened.
Exactly. Oh, Jesus. A fucking TikTok bloop. Horrifying railroad accident took place. Norfolk Southern. Oh, we did that too. Okay. All right. Alan Shaw, CEO of Norfolk Southern, says he is terribly sorry for the derailment in East Palestine, and the company's offered $1,000 per person for all of those with a 4413 zip code, which is probably let's Google this right now. Fuck. How much area is one zip code per average? What is the average area in square miles of U.S. zip codes? Makes the average land area per zip code about 82.25 square miles. But zip codes are based on population, not geography. Okay. Area of 44113 zip code. Let's do this. I mean, I'm just morbidly curious. So it's a tiny little chunk. It's the tiniest of chunks. Look at that shit. So that means this tiny little area, let's say at maximum it's 3 by 4. It's 12 square miles of area. That's even more, or that's even smaller than what the average says it is. 12 square miles of area, you only get $1,000. Oh, okay. East Palestine, Ohio. I'm gonna pay you $1,000 to fuck off. Yeah, guillotine. Yeah, let's go. Based Mao. All right. Here's another fucking horrifying thing. New footage of a truck carrying nitric acid, a hazardous material, overturned in I-10 in Arizona. People warned to shelter in place for yellow smoke that can be seen for half a mile away. It's very straightforward. American workers overworked and underpaid. Corporations cut costs by getting rid of safety precautions. Slower delivery times and more workers. The blame is squarely with rich dirtbags. Eggs fucking Ackley. Shit, it makes me fucking angry. Meanwhile, in Palestine, there's these assholes shooting at. Fortunately, no one was killed or injured when an ISF element fired live ammunition at a Palestinian boy in Bab al-Zawiya area market in Hebron Old City. Because, of course, holy shit. And then they walk away and they point the fucking rifles at the camera for filming. Look at that shit. I saw the earlier little bit where they were pointing the shit. Why is it still YouTube light mode? Let's fix that. Where's appearance? Dark theme? Dark theme. I would like to be not blinded. Let's see. Ah, yes. Bad empanada. It's that boy. Alright. We got two Palestine
Very short
videos.
And simple and sweet.
Jesus.
A nice little video interviewing random Palestinians, I assume in the West Bank, looks like it, about what they will do when Palestine is free. And I think it's a pretty representative and indicative video of what Palestine being free means to Palestinians. Because you hear a lot of proto-Zionists outside of Palestine in the First World, you know, people who defend the existence of Israel, want a two-state solution, or who like split hairs about like, oh, but what about the people who are currently doing genocide? And, you know, they will try to frame Palestinians as wanting like the 48 borders or the 67 borders. But when you ask Palestinians about what Palestine being free means to them, the answers that you get are not subjected to either of those limitations. Let me show you. This video here. What do they say?
Holy shit. Damn. Just simple shit. I mean, I get it. I know exactly, like, I know that. But it's like, it's still so fucking sad. Most of them just want to fucking live life. And yet... Swim at the beach. As simple as just wanting to fucking swim at the beach. Because you can't do that in occupied Palestine. Or Palestine. Palestine proper, East Palestine. A fucking US media having that shit be pronounced differently. Fuck that. Yet another fucking Pidgeot. God damn it. How many Pidgeots?
So she will go to Jerusalem and Haifa. Oh no, violation of the 67 borders. That one will go to Jerusalem.
I will travel to Germany to see my uncle. Because you can't even fucking travel outside of Gaza Strip specifically.
She will go to Jaffa. Oh no, that's another place that Israel stole.
I fucking love Bad Empanada though.
Wow, like all of these places that fucking Israel stole. Damn, this guy right here, he wants to violate the 48 borders? That's a bit problematic, my dude. You want your country returned to you? That's a bit problematic, my dude.
Yeah, how dare you?
ان شاء الله بس تتحرر فلسطين ان شاء الله. بدنا نفتح مطاعم، بدنا ان شاء الله نرجع البلاد ونعمر البلاد ونروح على البحر ونكيم.
Going to the beach? That's not allowed, my dude. That's very problematic.
Yeah, how dare you want to go to the beach? The fuck?
Again, Jerusalem and the town which her family was ethnically cleansed from. What? This kid doesn't want to abide by the 48 or 67 borders? It's kind of genocidal, isn't it?
Kind of genocidal, isn't it? I love him.
You see, like, every single person who they interview has the same perception of what Free Palestine means. All of it. No two-state solution. Okay? Ras Abu Ammar. Okay. An ethnically cleansed village.
Damn.
Well, he said he wants to rebuild it. Go to Jerusalem. See?
Go to Jerusalem and see my hometown.
Go back to the places that their families were ethnically cleansed from. All of them have like this generational memory. You know, for all of them, Free Palestine means all of it. It doesn't mean 48, it doesn't mean 67, it means all of it. If you genuinely support the Palestinian struggle, you should support Palestinians. To impose your conditions that, like, the settler colonial genocider should get half or 60% or 70% or whatever of their country is abominable anti-Palestinian racist garbage. Those of you who advocate for that sort of thing, you are anti-Palestinian. You are an anti-Palestinianist. You are a racist. And you are a racist on the part of Israeli settler colonialism and genocide. It's that simple. Like, you can't appeal to, like, you, like, supporting Palestine and Palestinians when you factually don't actually support them. In fact, if anything, you support Israel. You help to legitimize and normalize Israel's control over the territory that it genocided Palestinians to steal. It's that simple, my friends.
That. Honestly, I love Bad and Banana for that shit.
Anyway, let's cover something else that's actually important. Pogroms going on in the internationally recognized as occupied West Bank. And a certain ethno-nationalist YouTuber had something to say about this.
Oh no, is it an aristocracy? Fucking Zionist VTuber?
A certain ethno-nationalist YouTuber said, "People are mad that those condemning the attacks on Palestinians in the West Bank aren't mentioning the murders that inspired them. Bro, do you not think the murders were inspired by something too? As if any of it is justification. The cycle just continues." And they frame it as like the cycle of hatred, the cycle of violence. It's just human and true. So I wanted to make a video about this ridiculous bullshit, because this isn't true. There's no cycle of violence in Israel and Palestine. What there is a settler colonial occupier and the victims of that occupation, the people who live under that occupation.
Exactly.
Palestinians being colonized by the settler colonial Israelis. It's that simple. And it's even more black and white because we're talking about the West Bank. The West Bank is recognized even by Israel's allies as being under an illegal Israeli occupation. It's internationally recognized as Palestinian. And this violence is happening in the occupied West Bank. Now, when you're a people living under occupation, and there are implanted settlers defended by one of the world's most advanced and murderous militaries in the Israeli Defense Forces, when you fight back against that, it's not murder, okay? This is what an Israeli settler is. Israeli settlers, they come into internationally recognized Palestinian territory with guns, they are armed, and they work with the IDF, or they come in after the IDF has expelled Palestinians from their own land, they move into their houses, they move onto their land, they build new houses on Palestinian land. And then they try to take more and more and more and more. They try to get rid of the Palestinians. These are settler colonial occupying invaders. These are not like everyday civilians. You could make a claim that Israelis outside of the West Bank are civilians. You cannot make a claim that these fucking people are civilians. Give me a fucking break.
Not when they're armed with guns and just casually walk into, kick people out of their fucking homes. The fuck?
Resisting against a settler colonial occupation where the line between combatant and civilian is a fucking circle. What are you supposed to do? They move into your house, they steal your land, they ethnically cleanse you from it, and you're supposed to just fucking sit there and just let them do it? And just do non-violent resistance? Give me a fucking break. If Israeli settlers in the West Bank are getting killed by Palestinians, it's the same thing as Native Americans killing settlers on the frontier in 1850. It's defense. It's resistance. It's the same thing as a fucking Polish man retaking his house through force of arms from a German settler during World War II. And you frame this as a cycle of violence. There is no such thing as a cycle of violence. There's no cycle of violence in Israel. There is an aggressive settler colonial genocidal occupier, and there are its victims. There's the oppressed, and there is the oppressor. There's no cycle of violence. It is a problem caused by the fact that Israelis came to Palestine, even before the foundation of Israel, with the intent to form a settler colonial ethno-state at the expense of Palestinians. The same logic that we see resulting in
first, the biggest evidence for this is the fact that fucking South African, post-apartheid white South Africans went straight over there just to fucking settle over there, and were basically called, just normal Jewish people. You know, they're just, they were unofficially indicted as inundated as Jewish people, right? Because there's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Yeah, no, this whole situation is fucked, but...
What's going on today? None of that has fucking anything to do with a cycle of violence. It's not just, you hit me, I hit you back. It's, I oppress you. You fight back in the limited means available to you, and I oppress you more. What these people advocate for is like some sort of kumbaya notion of peace, where just both sides decide to renounce violence and just leave things at where the lines of the status quo dictate. But there is no peace without justice. Where is the justice for Palestinians? This rhetoric enables Israeli settler colonialism. It frames it as little more than like a call and response thing, where one side does one bad thing and the other side does a bad thing in response. But what actually happens is that one side is an obviously overwhelmingly powerful settler colonial occupying invader, even by the standards of Israel's own allies in the West Bank. And the other is a population living under said settler colonial occupation, having their homes, their towns, their lives ripped apart every single day by the settler colonial occupiers and fighting back against that. This is not a cycle of violence. There is clearly one side that is in the wrong and one side that is in the right. It's that simple. Another thing about this is what's been happening in the West Bank recently is the result of a new Palestinian resistance group called the Lion's Den. You know, they're in Nablus,
of course
they
have like a
West Bank, which has huge settler problems.
Super like
so this new group, the Lion's
fashy
Den,
name like
Lions
Lion's Den.
very young militants, you know, teenagers, most of them, who have lived under the occupation their entire lives and just want to fight back against it. But they also recognize that, like, the Palestinian Authority is just a collaboration organization with Israel, so they decided to form their own militant group to resist the occupation. And Israel has been attacking the West Bank.
Wait, I misunderstood that. Lion's Den is not the IDF.
Because they see a huge threat in a new resistance group that is not tied to an organization that they control, being the Palestinian Authority, that is operating independently of them, and that aims to resist their illegal war crime settler colonial occupation. By the way, that's something I forgot to mention. All settlers in the West Bank are living, breathing war crimes. Their presence there is illegal under even liberal international law. They are implanted settlers. Every single one of them is a war crime. They are war criminals. It's that fucking simple.
Yep.
So this Lions Den group is being responded to with the full force of the IDF, and that is what is causing this. It is a group resisting settler colonial invasion, and the IDF
because it's like, what's his name, like fucking Tim from New Jersey could come in, move into a Palestinian's home, and just be like, "It's my house now. I claim this land," and then they would kick the Palestinian person out of that fucking house because of that. It's fucked. It's absolutely fucked.
Them because it recognizes how dangerous a group that they do not control, that is not just controlled opposition like the Palestinian Authority, like Fatah. They recognize the danger that poses their settler colonial occupation. So there's no cycle of violence. There is clearly a group of oppressed people that is being oppressed by a group of oppressor people. That is what this conflict is. Israelis versus Palestinians is not some age-old conflict that has been going on forever. It is a very recent conflict that has been spurred very recently, within the last 70, 80 years or so, because one group came in to colonize Palestine and get rid of the people who already live there for their own benefits. It's that simple. Not a cycle of violence whatsoever. It's like saying that, like, when French resistance fighters attacked like Nazi troops, and then the Nazis responded by like killing French resistance prisoners or something. That's just a cycle of violence. No, you have clear lines between right and wrong. We all fucking know what they are. Don't pretend you don't. But aristocracy here, everyone's least favorite settler colonialism advocate, everyone's least favorite ethno-nationalist, she has to frame it as if, oh, guys, just an ongoing conflict. No one knows why it's happening. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who
Yeah,
can tell?
exactly.
Certainly not something that's very fucking obvious to anyone with an ounce of empathy and anyone with an ounce of brain matter, who isn't just trying to justify ethno-nationalist Israeli colonization. There is no cycle of violence in Palestine. There is an oppressor oppressing an oppressed people. And the solution to this problem is to make the oppressor stop. And any resistance to that oppression...
Because it is an ethno-state. It is
That's simple.
It's a state based on a religion. It's a religious ethno-state. It doesn't allow for any other people or mindsets or religions to have any sort of presence there. Anyway, let's check out Twitter is going. Oh, it's Sean doing his shit. Okay. Fair enough. He hopped on Twitter for a hot second and then fell back the fuck asleep. What a lad. And he's still asleep. I'm roasting him from the sleep, and yep. NLRB ruled today that Starbucks illegally fired and mistreated 35 union workers in Buffalo. Hell yeah. Part of the punishment, Howard Schultz must record a video in which he reads workers' rights. That's it. Ordered Starbucks to compensate workers who had hours cut, as well as reinstate and compensate 7 illegally fired workers. Good. Company must bargain with a store that had the majority support before extreme union busting spoiled an election. More perfect union covered many of the illegally fired Starbucks workers who were vindicated by NLRB decision. Love to see it. Hopefully they get their justice. Eli Lilly announced today that they're capping the price of insulin at $35 a month, finally. How did this life-saving medicine treatment get so expensive in the first place? Insulin cost about $10 per dose to produce. Drug makers like Eli Lilly then mark up the price over 10 times. It was over 1,000 times, isn't it? Before they actually dropped it back down. 1 in 4 people with type 1 or 2 diabetes are forced to ration their insulin. It's about 10 million people. How do they get away with it? 3 companies control 90% of the insulin market. And insulin was released for free, pretty much. Oh my god, the Hosho Marine profile pic. Love to see it. I should post about anime and video games while watching my life slip away like grains of sand in an hourglass. Based. Things that lead to this. California producing their own insulin. The federal government capping the price of insulin for seniors at Medicare to $35 last year. Years of campaigning, awareness raising, and fighting. That one viral tweet. Better things are possible. We can bully them into lowering drug prices. We can bully them into actually doing it. Twitter activism works sometimes. Just don't harass actual fucking content creators. That's simple. Don't harass content creators. Harass billionaires. We do not need to be fighting each other. We need to be bullying the shit out of Joe Biden and all of these other motherfuckers that are on Twitter. Bully Elon Musk. I mean, am I wrong? I'm not. These fuckers suck. They suck major butt. Philadelphia's Eastern Palestine Penitentiary was once a massive prison. Now it's a museum dedicated to horrors of mass incarceration. Workers at the museum who dedicate themselves to human rights are now fighting their own right to form a union. Just won their union election. They'll be joining the steelworkers and are excited to get to work on a contract. Congratulations. Love to see it. Employment extenders are in a power position, experts say. Aging workers are the key to keeping the economy afloat. Here's why and how that would work for you. Anyway, there's other shit that I wanted to cover before I tune out and raid someone. America, where your credit score says you can't afford to pay a $700 mortgage, so you pay $1,200 in rent. True. What if we threw him in prison instead? Yeah, you punched that government. Based little child, dude. It's part no one sees. He's had to develop coping mechanisms. Damn. A few months ago, our staffer, Sean Morrow, love to see it. Based Sean. That was him? I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were behind it. Fucking love that. A few months ago, our staffer used Twitter Blue to make a parody account of Eli Lilly and announce insulin is free now. But this one isn't a parody. Today, Eli Lilly announced they'll cap insulin prices at $35 a month. You're getting there, Lilly. $35 to go. Let's go. Bruh, that's such a fucking base tweet.
Rolling Stone? Are they a little irrelevant?
So, Rolling Stone came back to us about a cover, and I think it's worth pursuing.
Rolling Stone? Are they a little irrelevant?
It's a cover. It's a heritage brand. I think it's fail-safe.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it might be kind of past its prime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nobody cares about Rolling Stone.
Well, I know a few writers over there that I think would handle whatever we want to do with them in a really careful way, which I think is important at this point.
Rolling Stone has 6 million followers on Instagram. Half of them probably bots.
Well, I don't know.
And Jocelyn has 78 million followers.
I am aware of the follower count.
All real.
All real.
So she does a photo shoot, she tags them, they get her followers, more money for Rolling Stone, nothing for Jocelyn.
There's a lot for Jocelyn.
Not on Rolling Stone.
So, Rolling Stone came back to us about a cover, and I think it's worth pursuing.
This is from that new fucking weird ass TV show. Starlink is another one of Tony Stark's incredibly dangerous scams. SpaceX gets U.S. approval to deploy up to 7,500 satellites per Reuters. All the satellite junk orbiting our planet. Ever see the movie Gravity? Good movie. Russia destroys a satellite and then creates a devastating cascade of the debris that kills an entire crew, including Sandra Bullock. Oh, she dies? I never saw the movie. It's been out for years. There aren't any spoilers anymore. Also, that's right. She's dead at the end of the movie. Cope. Kessler syndrome says that our hormone becomes. Fucking love that. See, I didn't even know that. I haven't watched the movie yet, but I've been meaning to. So, damn. It gave me too much anxiety. Okay. Dealer Mark, hello. What? Ford applies for new patent that would allow future vehicles to repossess themselves and drive away if you miss payments. What the fuck? And then there's this dealer markup, $30,000 fucking dollars. All right. Anyway, Tic Tac. I'm gonna actually sign into fucking Tic Tac. Will it actually sign me in? I have to fucking log in. Gross. Use QR code. God damn it. I have a collection on there where I'm actually like posting stuff or saving stuff politically. I also post on TikTok quite a bit, but that's irrelevant right now. Where's the QR code? There's the QR code. Jesus. No, scan that shit. Scan that bitch. Log me in. Log me in. Log me in. All right. Wait. Can I not access my bookmarks? The whole reason I did that is to access my bookmarks. No, because my bookmarks has all the collections and shit. Well, fuck. All right, wait. No, not the app. If I get it for desktop, install. Still nothing. Fuck. Luck. Home.
So this Ohio train disaster has pointed out some frightening realities about living in the United States, and I wanted to talk about just a few of them that I find the
Damn
most
it! I hope I can
The first one
figure out
is
a
I'm
way.
hearing that Norfolk Southern actually went around the community where the train derailed and told people they would test their water for free as long as they signed a waiver, and this waiver makes it impossible for the citizens who signed to sue the company. Which is wild to think about because the EPA and everyone else in the area says that it's safe for people to live, but animals are dying, plant life is dying, people are seeing weird things in the water. I mean, you can see the
Oh shit!
This
shit.
Ohio
Damn
train disaster has pointed out some, and actually the people that wind up getting arrested, if anybody is, it's going to be the workers, not the. So this Ohio train disaster has pointed out some frightening reality because the EPA and everyone else in the area says that it's safe for people to live, but animals are dying, plant life is dying, people are seeing weird things in the water. I mean, you can see the chemicals in the water, in people's tap water. People are talking about rain smelling like chlorine. Air quality index reports.
Okay, wait. So hold up. I might as well then.
That the air quality is safe.
Shit. How do I? Oh, I don't have it installed on this computer yet. What was the app? What was the app again? Don't actually remember. Hold on. I could wait until I actually figure it out and then set it up later. But I kind of want to set it up now because that's where I got the next shit that I've got prepared. Maybe I'll make another stream and I'll expand on that. Fuck, there was a... What the fuck is it called? Oh wait, I have it on my other laptop. I just don't remember what it's called. that didn't help at all. What the fuck was it? Oh, I think it's on my iPad anyway. Well, I'll look into it later. But so that'll have to be another stream, possibly another Wednesday. I don't know. We shall see, because TikTok is going to be a lot harder to find that way. Ooh, Revolutionary Blackout Network. What have they got putting out? I usually like their shit a lot. Ooh, do they have shorts? Oh, upcoming? Why are all these upcoming? All right. Marianne Williamson is a Zionist? What the fuck? Oh yeah. Jimmy Dore went on Cucker the Carl to actually tell truth because no one else fucking accepts that shit. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else? What's Lee Camp been up to? Moment of clarity. That's my boy. I think this is us wrapping up. TBH. Real hackers rigging elections. CNN smacked by their own. I'm curious. Is that the Norfolk Southern motherfucker? Seymour Hersh story completely ignored by media. Of course it is. MSNBC covers up half this story. This fucking shit. Prisoners to sell organs for early release. What the fuck? This is the one that I wanted to talk about. That
amazing U.S. prison system.
This is not The Onion, by the way. I feel like I should preface that with almost every story we cover these days.
A lot of our stories seem Onion-esque, which I used to work for, so I should know.
I should know. So.
Oh Jesus.
Read it for yourselves.
For those who aren't.
Inhumane proposed Massachusetts bill would allow prisoners to trade organs for reduced sentences. This is where we're at in our dystopian fucking country. Poke, catch, great ball. All right. It's absolutely fucked. I hate it here.
That are listening and are just on pins and needles wondering what fucked up thing I'm about to share now. I quote, An inhumane proposed Massachusetts bill would allow prisoners to trade organs for reduced sentences.
And I don't think they mean musical instruments.
Well, that'd be pretty fucking cool. Were they like whittling in there? No, literally, prisoners. This bill hasn't been passed. It's been brought forward as a potential, and anywhere from 60 days to 365 days, if the individual donates bone marrow or organs.
Fuck.
I got like.
Jesus Christ.
Wait.
I just need to sit in silence. I have no response.
The politicians behind the bill say that the legislation would lead, quote, wait for it, it would, quote, restore bodily autonomy to
How?
incarcerated folks.
That's what?
I feel like, you know what, like as a woman, and the topic of bodily autonomy is very important to me. I feel like what's standing between me and the true nirvana of bodily autonomy is my ability to trade my liver for 2 months
For a pack of
time
cigarettes.
off.
Pack of cigarettes. Yeah.
We're at that point, at that stage of capitalism. Holy fuck.
Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they put something in the bill where it's like, and black prisoners who give away their organs get double time off.
Well, and of course, this is, as I mentioned, being the fact being that the majority of incarcerated folks are non-white. Someone brought up the point, and I like the way that they phrased this, such a nice way of phrasing it, quote, it could be perceived as harvesting organs from black people to give to others.
Jesus,
which could
yeah?
be a question of exploitation.
It could be perceived.
Could be.
It's kind of like how Louisiana was indifferent to whether people should be allowed to leave the prisons. They were indifferent.
Yeah.
They weren't kidnapping them, fucking imprisoning them when their time is up.
So, I mean, there's
Could
just...
be perceived.
There's just all of the things.
That's wild. That's a wild ass statement. What the fuck?
It could be perceived.
It could be perceived as racist. It is.
To others.
It simply
It could be a
is.
question of exploitation. Could be.
Again,
Could be.
can everyone just let that sit? Just stop and think about that for a second. Jesus.
So, yeah, so basically, there's everything wrong with this, right? Also, the fact that that people in prison tend to not be healthy because they're fucking in cages. And so going through the process of donating bone marrow or giving up a fucking organ could very likely kill you, because these are not low risk or no risk operations or to begin with, even if it were somebody who has like a great bill of health. But then you take somebody who has spent I don't know how many years or time in a fucking cage, and nobody suggests that living in prison is good for you. And so then you push these people to go under the knife so that they can get out of these cages earlier, and there's not going to be any.
Yeah, there's a chance that these people will die mid-procedure.
Not to mention, what are the organs that you're harvesting looking like? I mean, are like, would this even be just to be a fucking morbid asshole for a second? Are you even getting good organs, or are you just stealing organs from incarcerated folks because you have nothing better to do on a fucking Tuesday? And so, like,
True.
Like, this is so
Very dystopian.
I mean, sometimes I
We live in a society.
so,
I say this as a joke all the fucking time, but we truly do be living in a society, though.
who was the asshole that decided it was between 60 days and 365 days? And what is a kidney worth? How many days is that worth? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then, of course, another aspect, again, all of this is fucked, but another aspect that is totally fucked is part of the issue if you're going to be an organ donor, and I have a friend who needs an organ, and so I've learned more about this recently. there has to be a long process of making sure that people have the right medical history, making sure that that everyone's transparent about what's expected, what could happen, which I don't know. I feel like nobody ever tells the truth to incarcerated folks. Everyone, I
Right.
mean, so the idea that they
We-
get
we-
to sit down with a doctor who would be totally honest and forthright
The
with
U.S.
them.
The U.S. has a history of doing medical tests on incarcerated folks against their will, or
That, yeah.
lying to them about what's happening. Of course,
Or just
Tuskegee
black people.
syphilis testing.
Yeah,
and
black people in
ultra,
general.
It's horrific what's done to the people in our prisons against their will. And as you mentioned, they don't get good health care there to begin with. John Kiriakou, the former CIA officer who's now very anti-CIA, but he spent time in prison for revealing our torture program, the existence of the U.S.
Of
torture
course,
program.
yeah.
And he said that while he was in there, he had a lot of tooth pain, and he went to the prison dentist. And the prison dentist looked in his mouth and said, "Oh, wow, you clearly come from some money because you have fillings and things, like your teeth have been looked after." He goes, "Well, in that case, I'll fill this cavity." He goes, "Normally what we do is we just take the tooth out because these are prisoners, they don't matter, they haven't had good dental work maybe previously in their life, so fuck it, just not rip the teeth out." Like, just
That, yeah.
it's
Fucked.
inhumane, insanity, and it's yet again just how a system works, where everything is about profit. There is no care for humanity. It is a spiritual void that just complete, vacant, dark abyss in the spiritual center of this society.
Wow. Powerfully put.
Okay.
I was just gonna say that there is, because of our fucked up healthcare system, there is a crisis in this country with regards to transplants. There are over 100,000 people waiting for a transplant. 17 people a day in the U.S. die on the waiting list. So there is a dire shortage of organs. This is not how you address that shortage.
That.
Yeah.
Obviously, how you initially address that shortage is to actually have a healthcare system that
Takes care of you?
puts, more importance on preventative care, so that you have fewer people who end up needing fucking organs because they've actually had access to healthcare before their organs shut down. But also this, the quote about harvesting organs from black folks, non-white people actually have an even harder time getting access to organs that they need. I just wanted to share this one number.
Gee, I wonder
2020,
why.
For example, the number of transplants performed on white people was 47.6% of the number waiting. For black people, that was 27.7% of the
Yep.
people waiting.
Yep. That's about right.
Probably comes
Basically
down
double.
that probably comes down to various levels of systemic racism. Either the hospitals deciding that black people's lives matter less, or also sometimes, it's been proven that black people often get poor care in hospitals because the doctors ignore their complaints because there is a subconscious racism of like, well, a black person doesn't really know what they're talking about. But then on top of that, you have a lot of black people that are afraid to question the doctor because they've been told that maybe questioning authority in that situation is wrong. And the most famous example of this, I think, nowadays is that Serena Williams said after giving birth she was, I can't remember exactly what was wrong with her, but she was complaining about something, and the doctor said, "Oh no, it's not a big deal," and she had to keep complaining and finally insisted. And then they did what was needed that ultimately saved her life. And that's Serena Williams. That's
right.
One of the richest, most famous people on the planet.
Exactly. Fucking. Curious.
I wanted to play this clip just to wrap up. I wanted to play this clip from MSNBC, and I've started doing this a little bit more. I just kind of go over to one of our garbage mainstream media outlets. And I click on somewhere between 1 and 3 videos, and I pick one to tear apart because they are all such garbage. And I think it helps. It's not that I think that any of you watching right now are like big MSNBC fans, but I think it helps to know how to pick them apart. It helps to know how to tear them shred by shred. And, you know, I'm not saying I have all the answers. I don't, maybe things I'm missing, but, you know, you may shred them in a slightly different way. Like I like to shred, if I have Wolverine claws, I like to shred diagonally, whereas you may shred like down, or some people might do the Wolverine claws straight forward. However it is you shred. However it is you shred. Just keep shredding. So.
The fuck?
Here's, and this is also funny because of the MSNBC goons, Ali Velshi here is viewed as one of the more progressive, the slightly on the left of the liberals. So it's always fun to point out how even the most left of MSNBC, because, you know, they also have plenty of right-wingers on there.
Yeah.
Like Joe Scarborough and all this shit. I mean, they're all really right-wingers if you fucking look at the spectrum correctly, but you know what I mean. Right for their view of things. But Ali Velshi is viewed as one of the more left wing of MSNBC, of the corporate shitbags. And he did this interview about a guy put out a book about something about Nazis, and anyway, I'll just click play and you'll see how funny this is.
The reason you and I have been talking about this lately is because Nazism used to be a thing that was in history. And
Used to be.
This new incarnation of neo-Nazism, the racism and anti-Semitism that underpins it, is becoming increasingly prevalent in our world in very violent ways. It's not simply ideology. It's manifesting in a lot of violence in our own country and in Western Europe.
Yeah, and you know, when that happens here, when we see what happens in Charlottesville, when you see
So, just to stop there for a second, you hear that and he goes, it's this neo-Nazism is manifesting itself in throughout the world, and yes, by the way, those are real, and I'm not downgrading any of the fucking Nazi and neo-Nazi groups he's highlighting in America, but they say, and now it's happening in Europe, and you're thinking like, oh, they're gonna say Ukraine, huh?
No,
Is that what they're talking about?
They mean Greece.
Fucking no. We are allied with Ukrainian Nazis. And they cannot mention that at all. So here they are talking about Nazism in the U.S. And Europe and anti-Semitism. And they can't mention the fact that the U.S. is currently fighting a proxy war allied with Nazis. Like funding and arming Nazis. Like, and on top of that, the U.S. removed back in 2013, the Congress removed the ban Congress had put on funding Nazis. So in 2013, Congress voted to take that away, allowing the funding and arming of Nazis because they knew what they were doing in the
Ukraine.
In Ukraine. Yeah. So they removed that. The U.S. also has never voted. Every year, Russia puts forward in the UN the bill to stop the glorification or stand against the glorification of Nazism. And every year, the U.S. votes against stopping the glorification of Nazism. Even back a few years ago, 2018, I think, it was only two countries that voted against. I think it was Ukraine and U.S. voted against stopping the glorification
of Nazism. Yeah.
Meaning they want to continue to glorify Nazism. And of course, MSNBC, in this segment about Nazism, cannot mention any of that. Can't say it.
Kanye West opened his mouth and, you know, throughout all the anti-Semitism, we wring our hands and we say, I can't believe this is happening here. This seems like something that should be happening in Germany. It should be happening in Europe, not here though, not in America. And then when we were researching the book, we found that there was actually, back in World War II, there was a Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden in the heart of New York City, 20,000 Nazis who were cheering. There's giant banners of George Washington, swastikas surrounding it.
So he's absolutely right. And I have covered that before with Government Secrets, one of my podcasts. By the way, if you guys like podcasts, I have 3 of them. One is the audio from these live streams called called Either Moment of Clarity or the Lee Camp Show. I had to rename it on Spotify because they banned me. But so look up Either Moment of Clarity or Lee Camp Show if you want this audio. If you want my other podcast, Common Censored and Government Secrets. On Government Secrets, we cover the things that our government in the past generally doesn't want us to know. And one of them is that the U.S. had a lot of Nazis going into World War II. Also, the New York Times said very positive things about Hitler going into World War II, and then refused to cover the Holocaust through most of World War II.
Yeah.
But yes, there was a rally in Madison Square Garden with thousands of Nazis came out. This is just before the U.S. or a little before the U.S. got involved in World War II, and fucking banners of George Washington with swastikas, exactly how he's saying. Now, here's what he won't. This guest and Ali Velshi aren't willing to take the next jumps. Is you have a bunch of pro-Nazi Americans going into World War II.
Yeah.
Including many of our newspapers and things like that, including Henry Ford, right? Who was one of Hitler's heroes, and Hitler had a life-size portrait of him in his Munich office, Henry Ford. Henry Ford got the highest honor, was given the highest honor by Hitler's government in the 30s before World War II began, and did not return the honor when World War II began. Like, people asked him, are you going to return your German Medal of whatever? And they said, the Ford company said no. But on top of that, you have World War II end, and the U.S. continues working with Nazis. This guy's not mentioning it.
They hired them all. Yeah.
You have Operation Paperclip, where we brought Nazi scientists over the U.S. to help us get to the moon and do other things. So why not?
Let's work with the
smart Nazis. So
let's work with the Nazis. Yeah, why not?
We brought Nazi scientists.
What could
over.
possibly go wrong?
Operation Gladio, which was NATO and CIA, that was about leaving funding and arming for Nazis and ultra-right factions throughout Europe to fight communists if they were to get too active in areas. So now, yes, some are communists, and you know, what is communism? It's a socioeconomic view of the world. So now, in certain areas, these people are like, oh, we should live this way, and they're getting murdered by Nazis that the U.S. is funding and arming, or CIA and NATO, called Operation Gladio, and that also took out political officials. But they weren't just going after communists, they were going after many leftists that, even if they weren't communists, didn't matter. U.S. was involved in that. Now this guy is not talking about it. And this goes up to, by the way, Operation Gladio went into the 90s. And this goes up to today. We're funding and arming Nazis in Ukraine. But this guy can't talk about any of that. He wants to say, wasn't it crazy back in World War II when these Nazis did, we went at Madison Square Garden. And that's it. That's where they end the story.
And the first speaker at the rally said, if George Washington were alive today, he'd be friends with Adolf Hitler. So why are we still fighting Nazis in 2023? Because they never left.
Yes, except what they can't say is we're allied with them. Many of them. Now, I'm not saying we never also fight them. Like, there are operations in America to stop Nazis from doing shit, and I hope that continues. But we're also allied with Nazis in Ukraine. And that's not even just coming from me. The New York Times called it, as we discussed earlier with the Zelensky story, the New York Times called the Azov Battalion neo-Nazi. Every mainstream media article did in 2013, 2014, 2015. But now, Azov Battalion is your friends. They're the good guys, right?
They could do no wrong. What do you mean?
Folks, I just wanted to show you how garbage MSNBC continues to be. It's probably the biggest story going on in America right now, and it's.
I'll have to save the other ones for later.
I've covered it on these live streams. Seymour Hersh's bombshell revelations that the U.S. took out the Nord Stream pipeline. So I've already gone through all that. If you want to see all the details of it, go check that out. But this is now, and Seymour Hersh if you guys need reminding, is a legendary journalist. He broke the My Lai massacre story, other stories about Vietnam, stories about Watergate, stories about the Syrian chemical attacks that weren't real. He broke so many legendary stories, won a Pulitzer Prize. So this is not, like, you can't just claim this is some rando who printed something. And anyway, Alan McLeod at Mint Press, my colleague at Mint Press, did an analysis of mainstream media and looked into
this
how
dude.
much
I
they're
follow him on
ignoring
Twitter, too.
Seymour Hersh's coverage. So corporate media have overwhelmingly ignored the Pulitzer Prize winning reporter's bombshell. McLeod analyzed 20 most influential publications in the United States, according to analytics company SimilarWeb, and found only 4 mentions of the report between all of them over all of those days. 4 mentions. The entirety of the corporate media's attention given to the story consisted of a 166-word mini report in Bloomberg, 1 5-minute segment on Tucker Carlson, which
I think it was all Jimmy Dore.
I tore apart Tucker Carlson the other day, so it's not like I'm a Tucker Carlson fan. He's got a tremendous number of awful problems with him.
Well, this is just Alan pointing out that.
No. Well, I know, but my point is just, but he is, at times, Tucker Carlson will go outside the mainstream media.
Until, actually, every now and again.
As he did when he did the segment on the CIA, very well, his words, very well may have killed JFK. They did kill JFK, but it was the first time that mainstream media had ever done anything like that. So Tucker Carlson occasionally will do that. Will do these reports, which I will laud him when he does that. But he also is a racist piece of shit. So there's that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
exactly.
600-word roundup in the New York Post, and a shrill Business Insider attack article whose headline labels Hersh as a discredited journalist who gave a gift to Putin. So those are the four coverage pieces of Seymour Hersh's incredible revelations. The Nord Stream attack was also one of the... I just thought I'd throw this in here because I failed to cover this aspect on my live stream. Nord Stream attack was also one of the world's worst ecological disasters, constituting the largest single leak of methane in history, a gas 80 times worse for the planet than carbon dioxide and accelerating climate change.
Yeah, I was wondering why, like... Nobody was reporting on that aspect of it, and of course you'd think if the U.S. was so eager to blame Russia for this, why not highlight how horrific it is that this was the largest methane leak in history? Well, it's kind of like why the Republicans and Democrats never blame each other for rigging elections, because they fucking do it too. So it's like the U.S. can't yell at Russia for this methane leak that they supposedly did, because there's methane leaking across the U.S. all the fucking time, constantly. I mean, just around L.A., there's methane leaking from the fracking fields. Like if you go around LAX,
right, if you do like a heat,
it's just fucking constant.
Not heat signature, but there's a type of visual that just shows the methane clouds, and it's horrific.
Well, yeah, of course. And we do that all the fucking time.
I mean, it's not like I was living in anything good in New York City
That's
for
right.
10,
You were
12
what
years.
was it called? Radiac?
Oh my God! Tangent, folks. I lived in Brooklyn. I lived in Williamsburg, Brooklyn for over 4 years, and I saw a report on how, like a mention in a report on how the only New York City radioactive material disposal facility was in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and I then looked at where it was on the map. And it's fucking... Oh, no, I remember. I didn't even look where it was. I knew it was near me. I was like, oh, shit, that road is like 2 blocks from me. I then went jogging like a couple of days later, and I see a sign on a door that just says Radiac. Like, a door that goes to the sidewalk. And in the video, the guy holds a Geiger counter up to the front door of Radiac, and it's like... Yeah, so... I don't know that it's still there. If anyone's in Brooklyn,
actually glows in the dark, which is very festive.
I do. The ladies love it. All right, so I just wanted to give you guys that update on the Seymour Hersh story. And I can give you this update on the update about oil pipelines. Well, I told you, you're doing amazing research. See, you act like you don't want credit, and
Well,
then you do want credit.
Now you've got me expecting it. So now I'm like, by the way, this was found and.
EleanorGoldfield.com.news.
Yeah. So I sent this to Lee. This headline, which reads: Russia and China agreed to a 30-year gas deal via new pipeline, to be settled in euros. And I actually saw some video of the pipeline being built, which is horrifying. But
Now the U.S. is going to attack it.
But I sent this to Lee and I just wrote, so we wrecked Germany's energy infrastructure for no fucking reason. Because basically
We sped up what was happening that we were trying to stop.
the whole point of destroying Nord Stream was to cripple Russia economically. But that's not happening. And even more to the point, Russia and China have agreed, fuck the petrodollar, we're going to do this shit in euros. So
Well, and they may soon do it in some sort. They're working on they're working on some sort of currency that would be used between Russia and China. So just
BRICS.
euros may be the temporary.
Right.
The U.S. succeeded by bombing Nord Stream. The U.S. succeeded in cutting off the energy supply, a lot of it from Russia to Europe, which has crippled Europe. So the U.S. got what they wanted in that regard. But they had also thought this proxy war in Ukraine would possibly push China, if Russia invaded, push China into like stepping back and not working with Russia. But it's had the reverse effect, where Russia's gone, and China have gone running to each other, saying like, well, these Americans are out of their fucking minds, so let's work together. So it's actually sped up the multipolar world that the U.S. was fighting against.
That.
Russia has agreed to a 30-year contract to supply gas to China via new pipeline and will settle the new gas sales in euros, bolstering an energy alliance with Beijing amid Moscow's strained ties with the West. Yeah, this is Reuters, which generally does propaganda. Gazprom, which has a monopoly on Russian gas exports by pipeline, agreed to supply Chinese state energy major CNPC with 10 billion cubic meters of gas a year. And speaking of your Reuters, I forgot to say in that Alan McLeod article that the U.S. media is not covering the Seymour Hersh story, except for those 4 pieces, several of them trashing Hersh.
Of course.
But internationally, it's everywhere. So it's not like our mainstream media doesn't know about this story, that the U.S. bombed Nord Stream. It's everywhere. And Reuters has done 14 articles on it, while the U.S. pretends it hasn't happened. Now, McLeod makes the point that Reuters, all of the Reuters articles are trying to discredit Seymour Hersh, but still, there's
at least they're doing
some
something.
coverage of it.
Yeah, they're covering it.
Internationally, it's like in Germany, it's become a major thing. In Germany, they're yelling about it in Parliament, the Seymour Hersh story. So.
And somebody just posted, isn't blowing up a pipeline an act of war? Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely it is. But this is kind of how the U.S. rolls. There's lots of acts of war that the U.S. perpetuates on a daily basis, I'd say. Drone bombing innocent civilians, blowing up gas pipelines, whatever. And has yet to really feel the pushback from it.
All right. I
think. Plays cut from CNN.
12 minutes. Yeah, let's get to 3.5.
News for reporting false news. Let's see here.
Find the clip already. There we go.
Is Fox News an outlier, or is this the norm in a polarized media world?
Michael, it is not an outlier at all. This is the norm for conservative media. As you and I have been telling people for years,
I love how he says this is the norm for conservative media. For conservative media? Or for fucking mainstream corporate media, period. This is the norm for all of them. They lie when it is useful to the American empire. They're lying about the Chinese balloon right now. They're ignoring the fact that Nazis are incredibly significant contingent of the Ukrainian military. They're lying to say that's not true. I mean, they lie
That,
to support U.S. empire all the time. All the time. CNN, Fox News, Fox News, NBC, ABC, CBS, they're all lying to you, and they're doing the bidding of the U.S. empire. And when I say the U.S. empire, I'm talking about the corporate state. We live in an inverted totalitarianism. It's ruled by the anonymous corporate state. The corporate state owns our politicians to a large extent, almost completely. And so they're doing the bidding of all those players. Always. Always.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Never once will they turn away from that. And yet here he is saying, oh, this is the norm on conservative media. Just conservative media, that's all.
This is a business. They care about the bottom line. And the one thing that they are worried...
I'm sorry to stop it so much. But he just said, this is a business. They care about the bottom line. Is that not CNN?
Right.
CNN gave us nothing but 4 years of anti-Trump coverage, which I'm fine with a certain percentage of that. Trump was a fucking goon and an idiot. But they give us nothing but wall-to-wall Trump coverage while the world heated up, while the environment died around us, while people lost jobs and suffered, while all these things were going on, and while the fucking U.S. war machine went exactly the same as it did under Obama or Bush or Biden or Clinton. Exactly the same. They did wall-to-wall Trump coverage because it was good for ratings. He's describing CNN and acting like he's only describing Fox News.
About is losing their audience, alienating their viewers. And so here was a case where they really were concerned that if they told the truth, their audience was going to go find someone who told them what they wanted to hear.
Yet again, they're afraid that if they tell the truth, that people will go to another channel that tells them what they want to hear. That is what MSNBC did throughout, and CNN, throughout the entire Russiagate.
Yeah.
Rachel Maddow had frothing at the mouth segments on how a Russian had rigged your election and all of the red dots on the wall, this Russian, that
Conspiracy board looking ass.
There is zero evidence for any of it. It has collapsed completely. And it didn't change at all, right? It's what her viewers wanted to hear. So she was doing it. That's what she wanted to get the viewers. Bottom line. Everything you just said about Fox News is CNN, is MSNBC. There's no fucking difference.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's just, I mean, how can anyone watch this shit on CNN and not just fall over laughing? And by the way, I mentioned both Rachel Maddow and Tucker Carlson. Those are two of three very well-known news people who in the past 5 years
got
have
sued,
been brought to court
Yep.
for their lies or libel against someone or something.
And it's
And
entertainment.
all three of them have claimed that the reason it was okay that they libeled insert person here, the reason it was okay is because no one believes their show. Literally, you can Google it when you're done watching it. Don't go Google now, but you can Google it afterwards. Tucker Carlson, I mean, their lawyers are usually sent to court cases, not themselves, but Tucker Carlson, Rachel Maddow, and Alex Jones, the third is Alex Jones, by the way, have all said in court that the reason it's okay for them to lie is because their viewers don't believe them. And I'm paraphrasing, but their lawyers said things like their viewers know that Rachel Maddow's being satirical at times. They know that she's not always.
But when exactly are those
as
times?
it is. And in Rachel Maddow's case, it happened because she claimed a journalist was paid by Russia, and whoever the journalist was had not been paid by Russia at all. And apparently, her viewers were supposed to know that that's not true. So all three of these people have gone into court and under oath said, this is okay, what we do. We lie to our viewers because our viewers don't actually believe us. When, of course, they do. They do believe. So.
And that's
And
part
this
of the
is
problem.
Not the 1990s. You know, they don't have the strangle. Russia's no longer here. I think this was just the 2-year anniversary of his passing. Fox doesn't have the stranglehold on conservatives that they did at one time. There's a lot of competition in the marketplace.
This is the key point, Michael. You know, in the 1990s, somebody who watched or listened to Rush or watched Fox in its early years probably was also watching the nightly news or CNN and consuming media like yourself. So they were not living in this hermetically sealed world of conservative media. Flash forward to now, and they have dozens of options in conservative media. And so what happens is every host is worried about getting outflanked. Every host is worried about hearing that, you know, what happened to you? You sold out. You know, I can't trust you anymore.
I mean, how is that not exactly the same as CNN and MSNBC?
That.
They have competition. Liberals don't have to turn to MSNBC. They can turn to things like CNN. They can turn to the Young Turks for, you know, various forms of garbage. Like, there's a lot of outlets out there where they can turn, and so CNN and MSNBC are just flying towards the ratings wherever it is, and they know the ratings are generally to go after Trump. Those were great ratings for CNN. CNN lost the moment Trump left office. There were initial reports that CNN lost something like 46% of their viewers, and so it's a ratings bonanza. And I said this going into the campaign, not going into the campaign, going into the election when Trump was running. So Trump's running, most of the country thinks, he doesn't have a shot. And I had said that if Trump gets elected, and by the way, I was opposed to both of them, as I think I made clear plenty.
Oh, yeah.
If Trump gets elected, it is squarely at the foot of mainstream media. They've given him 24/7 coverage. Doesn't matter whether it's negative or not. They're saying his name every 3 seconds.
They're constantly, yeah.
And literally they gave, I forget the exact numbers, it was like 10 times as much coverage as Hillary Clinton and like 30 times or more as much coverage as Bernie Sanders.
That.
Just like they were covering him nonstop. And then they go, oh my God, Trump won. And it's like, well,
what did you think was going to
I don't know
happen?
that most Americans even knew who else was running. It was all you guys talked about. So they're going towards the ratings. Trump is the ratings, and they're still talking about Trump. Go turn on CNN and MSNBC any day of the week. I bet you get 20% still about Trump.
Somehow,
he's not even fucking in office. Do you remember with most presidents, they leave office, you did like one story a month, maybe, about the president that left office. Instead, we have our mainstream media still pounding Trump down our throats. Because that's where the ratings is. So exactly what they're blaming Fox News for, they're doing. By the way, I'm going to continue this right now. We're going to talk a little more about this and more stories. Oh, yeah, cryptocurrency. Yeah, the big central bank cryptocurrency. The central banking systems in various countries are working towards eliminating cash and having full control over every monetary system. We're going to talk about that and more at rumble.com/Lee Camp, rumble.com/ I mean, you can't get better than that. You can't, honestly. If you're going to get truths about reality, I think you should get them by a guy wearing.
Alrighty, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap. Oh, it's Revolutionary Blackout Network. Yeah. It's going to be too long. I think we're just going to go ahead and raid and then wrap up. So we're going to raid Tokyo Mochi. Please say hi. Be nice. Be chill. Be cool. Mochi. Wait, what? Why is it not showing up the raid? Alright, we should be playing something different. I don't know. We'll see how what we're gonna be actually doing. What the fuck is that? Alrighty. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It was a bit of a chaotic one, but it's chill. It's chill. Thank you, as always, Yaki, for stopping by and jump scaring me with the sound. Thank you, everyone else that was in the in there lurking and all that. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and raid, and I'll see you guys next stream. Bye bye.